Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Market Open. Thank you all for being here. I am sorry I am late today. I'm trying to get back into the swing of things as we have taken a couple days off from the show over the weekend and yesterday, but we are here. We are live. I feel like there is so much to talk about and so much to get into because of all the different headlines that we have not really discussed yet. Obviously, yesterday we did have Palantir earnings and we talked about that. But man, a lot of things have happened over the past 3 days. And so we have a lot to talk about. Thank you all for being here. My voice is still a little hit from the meetup. You can probably tell with how it sounds, but I think we should be okay. We got a little bit of recovery last night, but then we also had Palantir earnings, and well, your boy got a little excited for that one. So going to keep the voice as hopefully strong as we can. But obviously there's a lot to talk about over the past 3 days. We have Palantir earnings from last night, which we will get into. We have Nvidia and Openai drama over the past couple of days that I've been trying to understand. We have Robinhood that took a beating yesterday for what I think is a very confusing reason. I mean, I don't even have a real reason. Like crypto being down, I don't think is the best reason. But Robinhood fell 9% yesterday, so we'll talk about that, basically 10%. And we'll go deeper into it. PayPal, for those that haven't seen, we have, well, a new CEO who left the company. I did not expect to wake up to Alex Chris leaving. And a miss on the top and the bottom, 18% down. PayPal is a reason for why, I mean, you don't buy cheap stocks just because they're cheap. And PayPal right here is exemplifying that today. I mean, this is disgusting, dude. Roy, who's one of the biggest PayPal bulls that I know, he officially sold his position as soon as these results came out. He's not even waiting for a dead cat bounce. He is out of it. So I'll be curious to see if some of the other more public PayPal bulls are going to be out of this, or they're going to let the position ride. I mean, sometimes it just doesn't work out, and it is what it is. And we're all going to have positions that don't work out. I'm very curious for people in the chat, if you have PayPal, what your perspective is here. 18% down. Does the market open and this thing get even worse? Do we go below 40, or, do buyers step in at this point? But ugly results. We'll talk about what's happening with PayPal. That one is down. We also have a bunch of other earnings that are taking place in the morning with Pepsi and a variety of different companies. And we have AMD after the bell. So that'll be a very important one as we get into the close today to talk about AMD as well. Thank you all for being here. We had the meetup over the weekend. I'm not going to talk about the meetup right now. Probably towards the end of the market open, we'll talk about the meetup. But yeah, I have a lot to say about the meetup. But first of all, we had 350 people come out. It was really special. I just got the photos last night from the photographer, so I'll show some of those towards the end. Really blessed. Really blessed and grateful and humbled from all the people that came out and trying to recover over the past couple of days from the meetup. Next one will be LA, March 28th. We'll have some details on that, but it was special. It was a really special event. And I don't know, you kind of just sit back and be like, wow, like it was one of those things where I'm really happy we're doing this year. I'm really happy we're formalizing it. We're making it have some structure. And I think we can hopefully make it better and better. So for all those that are watching, thank you for coming to the meetup if you were there. And it was really fun to see everybody there. Okay, let's get into it. I feel like there are so many things to talk about, especially because we missed the past couple of days, that there's just like so much we have to get into. But let's start with Palantir. Let's start with Palantir. I'm going to try to spend 5 minutes on this, and then we can get into all the other headlines we got. I mean, look, it was a great quarter. It was a great, I mean, what more can we say? Last night, me, Amir, and Arnie, I think we spent about 30 minutes after the call breaking it down. 70% year-over-year growth. U.S. revenues up 93%. U.S. commercial revenue up 137%. Government revenue 66%. Rule of 40 of 127. They are guiding for 61% fiscal year 2026 growth. The most exciting thing about this call was the guide. The street was expecting $6.2 billion for fiscal year 2026. Palantir said, no, we're going to do $7.2 billion. That's $1 billion ahead of expectations. And it's just one of those quarters where you look back and you're just like, oh my goodness, this company is not just saying we're going to be a growth stock, not just saying, hey, we're going to try to beat expectations. They are demolishing and defying the expectations, which is why for the first time in a while, I bought Palantir last night. I bought Palantir, 157.49. Is it still expensive? Yes. Is it still, on a forward basis, expensive, even with the new guidance rate. Yes. All of that stuff is well taken and understood. But I do think that type of a guide in a world in which no other software company, forget software company is growing as fast as this, except the memory names, because the memory names are solving Alzheimer's or something. These companies in the software space, ServiceNow, Microsoft, et cetera, phenomenal companies, but they're not guiding like this. They're not growing like this. They're just not. And a lot of this is also not happening with the margin expansion that Palantir is doing as well. We had adjusted operating margins above 50%. I mean, the street thinks they can get to 57. Palantir is basically showing they can get to 65 over the next couple of years in terms of adjusted operating margins. So a lot of this top line revenue growth is going to flow down to net income. They had 43% net income margins, which again, most software companies just don't have. So, Microsoft falling 10% on earnings last week, I thought that was a bit ridiculous, especially because Microsoft put up some phenomenal numbers. But if the street cares about growth, and not only do they care about growth, they care about growth that absolutely destroys expectations, especially when your stock is already priced in such a heavy way, which is what we've seen with Palantir. If you can actually deliver that, like really deliver that, you're going to win. And, the stock's up 10% of the pre-market. I don't know if we hold this type of momentum, just given the macro, but I would not be surprised if buyers come in when the market opens. And here's the other reason I bought last night. If we get a dip, let's say this thing goes to 110, 120, like a lot of people have been saying, I think it's going to be a very obvious buy the dip, because there's just not any other company growing at this rate. By the way, the guidance they gave yesterday, we know that's conservative guidance. Palantir has beat and raised on pretty much every single quarter. So they're probably going to do well above 7.2 billion of revenue. And if they can keep that going with adjusted operating margins expanding over the next coming years, the stock is going to be able to grow into the valuation. Is it still expensive at a $350 billion market cap? Yes, on a variety of different metrics, you can say that it's expensive. But I do think there's a premium being associated here with every other SaaS name that can't compete or even can't show the street the potential to grow. And Palantir just says, no, we're going to grow, and we're going to grow at a rate that you've never seen before. The other thing that's really important about this as well is that customer count actually was pretty lackluster. They only gained 50 customers in the quarter, but they grew revenue 70%. So you might be asking, well, most software companies need to have volume to be able to get that revenue growth to match up. Palantir, going back to the Palantir thesis, has such an incredible moat when it comes to actually providing value to a company, to an enterprise, to a government, that they're getting a bigger piece of the pie. And as they get a bigger piece of the pie, even if the customer count is not growing yet exponentially, imagine when the customer count starts to grow exponentially. They only have 950 customers. Once that becomes 9,050 customers, I think it's going to become an incredibly different story. So the buy that I made last night might look bad in 10 days. I don't think it's going to look bad in 10 years. And once again, this company gives me the confidence to say, I need to own more of it. And quite frankly, I said this last night on my Bill Ackman Twitter post. I really am just unbelievably grateful that I've had the opportunity to cover the company. And so many people took a chance on the company 5 years ago, and people took a chance on me as a creator, with this being one of the biggest names that I dedicated my brand to. There's so many people I met at the meetup as well that, had their lives changed by Palantir. So many of you guys, and meeting people in person that had their lives changed by Palantir is also really important, because, I know that a lot of people have been part of the story, but getting to see you in person, getting to hear that you paid off your entire mortgage because of that, that stuff is special. It's very, very, very special. And I'm very, very grateful to just be a part of this story. And, I owe a lot to Palantir, but the biggest thing is being blessed enough to recognize that I've been in a privilege where I am a messenger of a lot of this information. Even getting to read Karp's letters every quarter really means a lot to me, because I love the philosophy of it. I know some people hate it, but being able to spread that message throughout the world and hopefully allow it to actually allow us to have some level of financial freedom because of these results, which makes it a lot more fun to cover these results, is pretty exciting. And I think that's why this momentum has been so strong. Arnie had some great charts out this morning. Take a look at this. You can see Palantir's U.S. commercial revenues have 6x as their commercial clients have 5x. This type of growth, again, is what the market loves to see, and Palantir is showing it. You can see the rule of 40 right here. Revenue growth is going up. EBITDA adjusted margins are going up at the launch of AIP. Karp put the entire company on AIP in June of 2023, and it worked. It really, really worked, as you're seeing right here. 57% adjusted operating income margins. This thing was 51 last quarter. It was 45 3 quarters ago. It was 17 a year and a half ago. So from 17 to 57, they're not increasing headcount. They're not hiring a massive sales team. They are building shit that works. And as a result, it's very exciting. Last thing I'll say on Palantir, the government business is still underrated. The moat that they have in government. Shyam Sankar on the call said that Maven, which we've talked about a lot, I'll be doing a Palantir earnings recap call with Adam, who's been studying a lot of this government stuff over the past couple of years, is at an all-time high in terms of usage. Ship OS they talked about. I think these products are going to be scaling to multiple subsidiaries of multiple governments across the world. And these $400-500 million contracts per year are going to become $4-5 billion contracts per year, independently creating annual recurring revenue for the business. And as a result, I think the government part of the business that continues to grow is underestimated. And if that continues to do what it's doing at the margins that it's doing at, this should be a company that wins for the long term in a pretty epic way. So congratulations to everyone who is in Palantir. This was exciting. 163. It is doing the opposite of a PayPal right here, down at 17%. For the people that said PayPal was the better buy than Palantir because Palantir was more expensive, I mean, you're seeing right here in the divergence of the results. One company puts up results and grows, and people want to pay a premium for it. The other company puts up garbage, doesn't grow, and the market doesn't want to pay a premium for it. In fact, the market doesn't want to even touch it. And I think that's what we're seeing right now with PayPal. For those that missed the actual numbers, they missed by 5% on EPS. 123 versus 129. They missed by 1% on revenue. I mean, the misses aren't even that crazy. The CEO leaving to me is just like, what? I thought Alex Chris was in this for a minute. And, you know, I don't think Karp will be leaving anytime soon. I don't think Vlad's leaving anytime soon. Jensen's not leaving anytime soon. So when you see stuff like this, where the suit who was, you know, put in to replace the other suit leaves and they put in a new suit. By the way, Disney, they put in a new CEO this morning as well. Now, Disney has only had 9 CEOs in their 100-year history. So I don't know who the hell this guy is. I need to do some research on him, but he was the park CEO. He's now been upgraded to the overall CEO. Disney right there up 1.2%. Yeah, replacing the CEO probably isn't the best look for PayPal. So look, I don't know if it has to go down further than this. I think they're probably gonna be a little pain when the market opens, but I could understand buyers stepping in. It's just, I think people have lost all faith. And when they lose all faith, then, you know, at some point the stock tends to continue getting hit. So that's what we have on PayPal. And again, congratulations to everyone on Palantir. We're going to see when the market opens if this can hold. And if it doesn't hold, quite frankly, I wouldn't be that mad to buy more at a lower level. I just think with those types of results, you're not easily going to see the stock get sold off because too many people are too excited about coming into this. Operating leverage is the way we define Palantir, and there's your operating leverage right there. I mean, it's becoming, as Karp said on the call, magic. It's becoming magic. And that's why I think this continues to be very, very exciting for Palantir. Okay, so let's talk about Hoodie, because I know a lot of people are asking about Hoodie, and then we'll talk about Nvidia. So look, Hoodie was confusing yesterday. I obviously I didn't do the market open yesterday, so I actually got to see the market open on my phone. And you know, as soon as the market opened, I saw Hood get hit, and I was with Davis and Nate at my house. Davis likes Zeta. Zeta got hit. Nate likes Nebius. Nebius got hit. So all three of us are just like, well, all three of the stocks we like just got destroyed. I don't understand why it's down. The only argument I have is for crypto, right? Crypto's down. Crypto got hit bad. Hood's down. But when you looked at Coinbase yesterday, which should be a better crypto proxy than Hood, because literally everything they do depends on crypto, Coinbase was down 3%. There wasn't any insider selling yesterday on Hood. So I am just as confused as you guys are. I had a feeling this was going to happen. This is why we talked about hedging Hood. Specifically, the reason I took more of a hedge on Hood than Palantir is because I know Hood is a bit more cyclical and moves with the market. Palantir, I know if they can just beat and raise, you know, they have juicy reoccurring SaaS revenues that aren't really contingent on retail trading or not. So that's why I hedged Hood. So to be honest, I didn't really feel much pain yesterday. Like the whole point of hedging this massive position in my portfolio was to make sure that if something like this happened, this is, you know, this is exactly what Jason did as well. We both have a really big Hood position, and we both also knew that if things get a little light, this thing probably goes below 100, and having a hedge would not be too crazy. So those $100 Jan 2027 calls are up over 50%, and we've pretty much collected all the premium that we've lost on the stock from the decline. So the hedge has helped the portfolio, but the confusion still remains. I don't know why the stock fell 10%. Genuinely, I feel like I should have an answer to this, but I don't. There's nothing about prediction markets that was said. There was nothing about regulations. There was nothing about options that were, I mean, if anything, they introduced ISAs in the UK, which is massive. They introduced Monday, Wednesday, Friday options in the United States, which should be good for trading volumes. And they increased the ability for more people to sign up to the bank and get that high yield APY on your checkings account. So I don't know. It's confusing. It's confusing to say the least. However, part of me is just like, is this the market being dumb and like just giving us an opportunity to buy a generational company again at 90? Now, I want to say that's the case. Obviously, Hood is not the cheapest stock in the world, even after this decline. But when this thing was 90 a few months ago, it was obvious like this was going higher. Now it doesn't feel as obvious because the market sentiment has changed. The biggest problem with, I think, Robinhood is that all this high beta stuff has been taking off, and Hood, which should be the most high beta of the high beta and is the home for all the high beta trading, is not taking off with it. You had a couple analysts come out yesterday and defend their price targets. One of them said, hey, like the stock's going to 155 and this crypto sell-off feels kind of stupid. Robinhood is one of the most important financial companies on the planet, and you should continue to be long. So the analysts have not downgraded it. The analysts are not issuing sells. I genuinely am not sure what the heck is happening with it. And so I am very curious to see what happens today. Does this come together? Sam says fintech is down. Sam, by the way, was at the meetup. So Sam, thank you for being there. It was awesome to see you in person. Yeah, that's one thing that we can also chalk it up to as well. SoFi, which also did not deserve to get hit after those earnings. I mean, again, I think that was ridiculous on Friday. SoFi is getting hit. PayPal being down is not going to help Hood because it's in the fintech bucket. Affirm, Coinbase, etc. Like a lot of these names have just gotten hit. And so maybe the market doesn't like SaaS right now. Maybe the market does not like fintech right now, but I don't have an answer for why I took a 10% hit yesterday outside of crypto. But even the crypto decline, Bitcoin below 80, I don't think is enough to take Robinhood down 10%. So we'll find out today kind of how this price action reacts. I expect a bit of a bounce. If we actually go below 89 today, then something's going on. And I mean, it gets a lot more attractive for me to buy the dip, but I am curious to see what happens here today. And we'll see if some buyers do tend to step in. SoFi also got a bunch of upgrades this morning. They got a $31 upgrade from JP Morgan, which, again, a lot of people think JP Morgan's a competitor to SoFi. So the fact that, which it is to an extent, so the fact that they upgraded them to overweight from neutral, they're basically telling their clients, buy the stock, like it deserves to go higher. Also means that if Robinhood delivers one of those big quarters, you know, and fintech gets a little bit more in favor, then maybe that helps. But again, I understand people's frustration because high beta momentum is associated with Hood over the past couple of years. That's been running, not large caps, but Hood hasn't been. So there's a different interpretation the street has around Hood. And I think it'll take us a little bit more time to figure out exactly what's going to be happening here. The US is launching this subsidiary for critical minerals. It's almost like a critical mineral reserve. That came out yesterday. That pumped a bunch of the critical mineral stocks. The EU is going to be offering the US critical minerals partnership to counter China. Let's see if that's helping those stocks this morning. USAR, yep, that's up 6.2%. MP, that's up 4%. What's the other one? CRML, that is also up 7%. I'm trying to do a little bit more due diligence on the critical mineral companies. They have declined a lot from 2 weeks ago because of a variety of different headlines. And so it looks like the thing Trump announced yesterday, along with the EU helping them, is not a bad thing. And that's helping those stocks pump. It's just these stocks have also been super up and down on random headlines. So they have been good for traders, but not been the easiest to hold on as investments given the volatility. Broadcom just unveiled the industry's first enterprise Wi-Fi platform for AI. Broadcom launches first unified Wi-Fi 8 access point and switch solution, new platform designed for AI-ready enterprise networks and edge intelligence. You know, if I could get some of that Broadcom industry AI Wi-Fi inside of my building, I would appreciate that. So hopefully I can get that. Tesla, SpaceX, XAI. This is pretty freaking crazy. I didn't expect it to happen this quick, but it's official, folks. SpaceX has acquired XAI. I mean, it's happening. We talked about it yet last week as a rumor, and I guess the rumor had a lot of juice to it. They announced yesterday on their blog that XAI has joined SpaceX. I mean, I think it makes a lot of sense. At the end of the day, XAI got acquired at a $250 billion valuation. If you compare their metrics to ChatGPT or Gemini or Anthropic, XAI probably does not deserve to be worth $250 billion. Like, they don't have the users, they don't have the growth. But if you talk about their AI, which is essentially Grok, being central to space-based AI and space-based data centers and all the other applications of it via the Elon Musk universe, like the brain for Optimus, etc., that could be a really big deal. SpaceX has acquired XAI to form the most ambitious vertically integrated innovation engine on and off Earth, with AI rockets, space-based internet, direct-to-mobile device communications, and the world's foremost real-time information and free speech platform. Also, now SpaceX owns X. So X is a part of SpaceX. So basically, whenever X pays me for my tweets, I'm technically a SpaceX contractor. So that's also happening. This marks not just the next chapter, but the next book in SpaceX and xAI's mission, scaling to make sentient sun to understand the universe and extend the light of consciousness to the stars. I think this is super bullish for Rocket Lab, super bullish for ASTS, super bullish for the space companies, and the reason it's bullish for those companies outside of the sort of fundamental logic behind space-based AI and the ability for those companies to be associated with the broader space-based ecosystem is that you need to justify the SpaceX IPO. And I don't think you can justify the SpaceX IPO based on the current revenues. Well, if you put in a $250 billion AI company in there, I mean, it's a little bit easier to justify. The IPO, by the way, we're getting a lot of details on the S1. Apparently, they are trying to go public at a $1.25 trillion valuation while acquiring Space XAI at $250 billion. So now you're getting a little bit more juice than just the $15 billion of revenue per year that SpaceX does. And on top of that, you got a lot of Tesla people excited because obviously the final step of this entire mission is to merge Tesla into SpaceX. Now, I think my take is that that's going to take time. My take is that Tesla will buy SpaceX eventually. And then all the Tesla shareholders, Elon has always said Tesla shareholders will get benefit to all my other industries. They will just have the stock go up as he buys SpaceX. Now, that might take 5 years, but that'll easily get the market cap closer to 10 trillion. That's what Elon needs to get a $1 trillion payday. So, I mean, I guess the plan was never to sell billions of cars, but to just merge everything that Elon has been doing into one thing. And then boom, there you go. You have the entire ecosystem at play. So I think it's really exciting. I think it makes a lot of sense. I do think, it is one of those things that should be able to create the Elon Musk enterprise at scale. A lot of retail investors don't own SpaceX or XAI. So unfortunately, this is really good for private companies that own this stock, not for investors, not for retail yet, because a lot of retail don't have access to both of these startups. But if you've owned SpaceX or XAI, and I'm sure some of you guys own in the chat, Derek has been in SpaceX for a long time and XAI since $18 billion valuation back in June. So yesterday was a big day for him. I mean, this is a big deal because now you get a real fully formed public space company that has big ambitions and has an AI moat that is now associated with it. The question is, will retail get access to this thing before it pumps 50% on the first day? And I hope Elon has some plan to help his most loyal shareholders do that. Because if not, then it's going to IPO at like 1.9 trillion and no one's really going to get access to it. So I hope there's a way that like Robinhood users get more access to it. There's got to be something that would be easier to make this play out. But for the private markets, I mean, this is a big deal. And, Tom Lee actually made a point on the Compound and Friends that I was listening to last night. He said the SpaceX IPO is going to make so many people so liquid because they've been waiting for this for almost 20 years that a lot of that money that they get from the IPO could be deployed back into the market into other ways. So imagine someone who's been in SpaceX for the past 10 years. I think if you were the earliest check, you turned 50,000 into 115 million. Let's say you turned 25,000 into $2 million, something like that. And I'm sure there's been even better returns than that. That 2 million you get finally liquid after 10 years. Instead of holding on to SpaceX, you might go put it into a bunch of other different companies, which could also help pump the broader markets. Maybe you put into gold and silver, et cetera. So there's a lot of different ways that this could create a liquidity event that actually helps the market, just based on the fact that this is going to be, I think, the second largest IPO in history. If it's going to be above Saudi Aramco, no, so it'll be the first one. Saudi Aramco was 1 trillion, or it was like 950 billion. If this goes at 1.25 trillion, it will be the largest IPO in history, which will be important. Gold and silver, let's talk about that real quick. So look, I sold my COPX last week. The reason I sold my COPX is because, and I made like 10% on it, so I made like $1,200, is I don't like the way gold and silver are moving. I just don't. These assets are moving like meme stocks. I don't think they should be moving like meme stocks. I'd much rather be on the outside of this trade than inside of it. Silver had its worst day in history on Friday. COPX, to me, copper is just following silver and gold. Like, it's not that exciting of a thesis if the chart is identical to the assets that are behaving like meme stocks going up and down. The margin requirements on these things have been crazy. So yes, is silver up right now in the pre-markets? Yeah, that's amazing. But like, silver then goes down 10% the next day. I mean, there are real fundamentals. And if you're in this trade, I think you stay in this trade long, especially if you got in early. But the derivative assets of this trade, I don't have the stomach for it. because if one day it tops out the way it did on Friday, I mean, dude, some of these leverage ETFs were down 50%. Silver itself was down 30%. It was just ugly. And I don't think you want to get caught up in that, especially if the CME continues to increase margin requirements. I think on now in Robinhood, instead of having 50,000 for one futures contract for silver, you need to have 95,000, which is kind of ridiculous. But I understand that because the margin requirements are going higher. So I think the commodities continue to do well. Do the commodities just bust through and make new all-time highs every day like they have been? I mean, maybe they do, but do they get followed by these epic tops? Yeah, that's also very possible. And so I don't think chasing this trade makes the most sense. I'm trying to do a lot more fundamental research on these other asset classes in the precious metal space, but they all seem to be derivatives of silver and gold price action, which means at the end of the day, you're reliant on how silver and gold operate. AMD will have earnings today after the bell. Here's a big question for everybody. Let me just ask this right now. So today is Tuesday, and we want to do Technical Tuesday, but today is also this AMD call. So can we do the AMD results and then go to Technical Tuesday, or do we have to listen to the AMD call? Because if you say we have to listen to the AMD call, then I have to tell Jason that we can't freaking do Technical Tuesday. And he's excited to do Technical Tuesday. And I want to do Technical Tuesday too. I'm going to do a poll right here in the chat. I'm going with the majority, okay? I'm going with the majority. So which one, TT or AMD call? We will still look at AMD results, but do we have to sit through for an hour the AMD call when we could be looking at technicals? Do both. You owe us for missing the market opening. We can't do both, because if we do both, we're going to start Technical Tuesday at 6, and Jason kind of has to leave at 7. I think we should do Technical Tuesday. I don't really think we have to listen to the AMD call. You could also, if you really care that much about the call, you can just go to a different stream, listen to the call, and then come back and watch TT later. So I feel like TT should be the winner here. Chad said it's equivalent to paint drying. By the way, Chad, congrats on the quarter, man. That was a good one. That was a good one. Okay, TT's winning. All right, we're doing TT. So that's settled right here. I don't want to hear any complaints when we go to TT and we don't listen to the AMD call. We'll be doing Technical Tuesday. But Chad, congrats to you, man. That was a hell of a quarter. We talked about it in the morning. I started off my my post yesterday by just saying, wow. Like, this was just, again, wow. A 70 handle on Palantir. I mean, if you were there in August 2022, there was a 12 handle. And there's a 70 handle. Also, one thing I'll say about the call as well, that Karp was very relaxed. I think last quarter, Karp was like, are you guys seeing these freaking results? Like, he was really like, come on, like, these results are crazy. And he was right about that. This quarter, he was very subdued, and he was just like, yeah, we put up the results, and you guys either recognize it or not, but we're winning. And I think it was a very relaxed Karp. And I was happy he still had energy and passion, but he was also just like, guys, in a world in which everyone can't make money and everyone can't grow, and if they do grow, it's barely above expectations and we're smashing it, there's not much that needs to be said. And I got the same vibe from Sham and the other executive team. They were just like, we're winning. We're really winning. And you either believe in these results or you don't. You believe in our guidance or you don't, but we are absolutely winning. And it's because of people like Chad that are at this company pushing to continue to make it even go higher. So very exciting stuff. Palantir holding on to its momentum. Trusted this company basically with my entire professional career 4 years ago, and they continue to not disappoint, even though it was rough for a couple years, which it should be. It should be rough to get something beautiful, right? Diamonds are made in the rough, and we absolutely have a diamond here with Palantir. 165 in the pre-markets. Tesla right there, that's up about 1%. Silver up 8%. AMD, that's up 2%. USAR, that's also up 6% on this rare earth news. Let's talk about Nvidia. Jensen is pissed off with how people are talking about the relationship with Openai. Let's watch this video right here. It was quite surprising to see how Jensen responded to this reporter. You could tell he was not happy.
So can I ask quickly about Openai again?
Sure.
So yesterday you said that the Nvidia is not going to invest as much as 100 billion in Openai.
No,
for the current run?
we never said we were going to invest $100 billion in one round. That never was said.
But how about the overall commitment? Because last September you and Openai
there was never a commitment. It was if they invited us to, let's start over again. They invited us to invest up to $100 billion. And of course, we were very happy and honored that they invited us, but we will invest one step at a time.
All right, but is that overall commitment still stands, or it's not
No,
a commitment?
I told you just now.
Okay.
Yeah, you keep putting words in my mouth.
Okay.
It's not.
Sorry about
Yeah, I know that. Yeah, they invited us to invest up to $100 billion, and we are honored that they invited us. We will consider each round one at a time. Yeah.
Here's the other clip of Jensen again trying to stop the argument around him being upset about OpenAI.
Very hard. Yeah, that's complete nonsense. We are going to make a huge investment in OpenAI. Yeah, I believe in OpenAI. The work that they do is incredible. They're one of the most consequential companies of our time, and I really love working with Sam. And I think it's
But the report also mentioned that your MOU doesn't have any progress.
We just haven't made the investment in them because they're closing their round, but we will definitely be involved in their round. Yeah.
Now, look, I love Jensen, I love Nvidia, but I think it is fair to say that if you watch the September announcement with Nvidia CEO and Sam Altman at the, I think they were at the Nvidia headquarters, and it was like a very impromptu $100 billion announcement. There was a fundamentally different excitement that they had versus today. Like the excitement they had back then in September was like, yes, like we're making this big investment, working with OpenAI. Now Jensen's like, why are you asking me about this company? Like, I don't want to talk about them, right? And I get his frustration with it, and he's trying to maneuver his business in his own way with OpenAI. But there have been various reports over the past couple months that Jensen is really annoyed with Sam Altman. He's really annoyed with the approach they're taking. He's really annoyed that they made that 10% deal with AMD. I think that really pissed him off. And he came on CNBC 2 weeks after, and you could tell the way he was talking about it was very like, I didn't know Sam would do that, but I wish him the best of luck, right? And it's one of those things where you could tell that, yeah, they haven't committed to put $100 billion into them, or even the first tranche of that $100 billion, because maybe they're thinking, do we want to really be with them as a partner? And now when people are saying, hey, you said you would do this, what happened? He's getting more doubts. He's getting more doubts about if he actually wants to engage in OpenAI. Now, there are multiple reports over the weekend that OpenAI is upset with NVIDIA's chips. OpenAI is not happy with the inference speed that they're getting from NVIDIA. They want faster answers, and that they're going to be looking for alternatives. Sam Altman seemed to shut that down yesterday by saying, we love working with NVIDIA and they make the best AI chips in the world. We hope to be a gigantic customer for a very long time. I don't get where all this insanity is coming from. A lot of he said, she said here. So I don't know. We're going to see how this ends up playing out. But overall, there has been a little bit concern around how the market is interpreting what's happening with NVIDIA. I think based on the memory super cycle, which Jensen also talked about, I think NVIDIA is going higher on earnings. I really do. NVIDIA right there, 186. AMD getting a nice boost today. They got a nice 4% boost yesterday as well. Maybe, OpenAI switches to Broadcom or AMD or other companies for different chips if those reports are true that they need different alternatives. But the most important thing to understand is that the demand for these chips across the entire world continues to be higher and higher than we can imagine. And the memory names, which every time I look at them, I cringe because, they're still kind of cheap, but it's just really hard to get yourself to buy a SanDisk at $692 in the pre-market, or a Micron right here at $440. But the memory names are showing that the demand for HBM, the demand for DRAM, the demand for context windows inside these LLMs is increasing exponentially. And that's because the demand for overall intelligence is increasing exponentially, and NVIDIA is taking advantage of that. So although the market is not giving NVIDIA the multiple that it probably deserves, which is, pricing it closer to 230, 240, I think that's coming. And I think maybe they just need to see one more quarter to see that playing out. Here's what Jensen had to say over the weekend about memory and why that continues to be in a super cycle.
NVIDIA is so large. NVIDIA 那么大了。 好多东西我不知道。
This I have a question for you. There's a report saying
But we need a lot of memory this year. That's a good point. We need memory for HBM memory for performance. We need LPDDR for low power memory, because the AI has to have memory. Intelligence needs to have memory, and so we need a lot of memory for intelligence. Yeah,
Is memory constraint an issue for Nvidia this year?
I think that the entire supply chain is challenging this year because demand is so much more. You know, the supply has been growing 100% every year, but demand is going faster than that. And so we're going to have a very good year. We will work very hard. You know, Nvidia is so large. Nvidia no está.
So again, the memory names continue to be very strong, and obviously Jensen continues to say how important the memory ecosystem is going to be. AMD right there up 1.6%, Palantir up 11.5%, and then Nvidia up 0.5% in the pre-markets. Let me know if anyone's buying the memory names. I still, I don't know. I still just feel uncomfortable buying into the momentum, but it obviously feels like that momentum is not slowing down anytime soon. PayPal again still got hit after earnings, 17% down. Let's see some of the other companies that we had. Melanie, she came to the meetup. I'll talk about the meetup more at the end. I was so happy to see her. I did not expect her to be there. She flew all the way from Seattle just to be. The amount of people that flew in from different places, I mean, it was truly humbling. We had a guy flying from Portugal. I was like, do you have a finance community in Portugal? I was just like asking, like, hey, do you have friends? He was like, why the fuck would I be here if I had a finance community in Portugal? I was like, yeah, you're right. That was a stupid question. So he flew all the way from Portugal for this. So I mean, it was really special, dude. A lot of you guys flew out from Miami, Dallas. I mean, it was really, really cool. So Melanie, I was as soon as she was like, my name is Melanie. I was like, Melanie, the teacher that's been in the chat for 4 years. So it was really cool to see a lot of you guys. I got a lot of pictures. I'll share all those pictures at the end of the stream, and we'll show a lot of this stuff. Now, again, one of the reasons that the market fell on Friday was Kevin Warsh. I've been trying to do more research on the guy, and I don't think Kevin Warsh is as bad as we are thinking. He definitely is not a fan of quantitative easing, but he absolutely is a fan of lower rates. And so the market's, I think, kind of confused because, like, okay, he's not going to print money and put it on the balance sheet for the Fed, but he is going to lower rates. But if he can kind of mold those two things symbiotically, like, we might actually get inflation under control for a little bit. We might get the bond market to be excited about the way the United States has its monetary policy under control. 10 years still at, wow, 4.293. Bond market's not happy today, almost 4.3. And we might be able to get rates to come down. So I think the freak out over Warsh is not as serious as we thought on Friday. Obviously, that's how the market reacted to it. And hopefully that continues to not be bad for the long term. But we're going to see what ends up happening. Sachin says, at the end of the day, wow, Alex Chris turned out to be another C-suite imposter. PayPal deserved this decline. It was obliterated for all the right reasons. I know Sachin was a bit more excited about PayPal a couple months ago. Same thing with Roy. I mean, I'm seeing a lot more people just say this stock deserved to get hit. And unfortunately, it was cheap, but cheap for a reason. PayPal right there, 17%. Put in the chat if you think this thing gets lower in the next 3 minutes. Does it go below 40? Or does this one continue to maybe bottom out here and people can come in to potentially buy the dip? Arnie in the chat saying Truflation's inflation is super low now. Lots of space to lower rates. I agree with that. Truflation has been putting out a lot more data. By the way, we're not getting jolts this morning because the government is still kind of closed. We had like this partial shutdown, which the market doesn't care about too much, but we do have a shutdown. So the BLS is not putting out stuff. But Truflation says inflation's at 0.89%, or sorry, 0.98%. The BLS is at 2.7. So, and I think Kevin Warsh knows this, and he knows this very well, which is why he's ready to lower rates. It's just a question of if those rates can get lower enough to match up with how the market is interpreting equity prices to go higher. And, you know, maybe that's catalyst for gold and silver, but maybe if we get our monetary policy under control and we lower rates, gold and silver are not going to have the benefit of all the debasement of the uncertainty because Kevin Warsh will be offering more certainty to fiscal policy and monetary policy. But we're going to have to find out when he officially gets in as the Fed chair. Is Microsoft down because of the Openai partnership? I think Microsoft took a hit for a variety of reasons. One of the biggest reasons probably is because the street does not believe that 50% of their RPO coming from Openai actually will be paid to them. Palantir's RPO grew 240% by the way, and none of it is associated with OpenAI. So we're talking about real revenue that they're probably going to collect, not just revenue that they say they're going to collect. And, you know, that's been one of the reasons I think the street has not been the happiest with Microsoft or Oracle. By the way, Oracle is raising $50 billion of cash. I think it's 20 billion of equity, 30 billion of debt, 158 in the pre-markets. That is now at a 7-month low. That is also why Nebius and Iren and the CoreWeave, all those other stocks have been hit as well. And that's why we are seeing a little bit of pain right here. So a lot of these names have just been getting hit over the past couple of weeks based on some of the broader headlines from companies like Oracle. Shout out to Tanner. If you guys have the opportunity to go to MIT's meetups in the future, please consider it such a blast. Thanks for inviting me, brother. I was really happy that Tanner, Chris, Steve, I mean, everyone who's part of this community got to be at the meetup. And that's what made the New York one really fun. So we'll talk more about it at the end of the day. When we get into this bell ring in 10 seconds, I'm going to be ringing a new bell today from Cindy. Cindy, I know you're watching. She got me a cowbell from China. From China. I mean, I got emotional when she gave me this gift. So Cindy, thank you for coming to the meetup. Deeply, deeply appreciate you. And it means the world and is very, very humbling. 9:30 a.m. Tuesday, February 3rd. The stock market is now open. That's so epic. That's so epic. All right. Wake your asses up. Let's get into it. Palantir opens up 9.4% on the day. 9.4% on the day. 161. Let's see if we can hold 160. That's up 9.6%. AMD, that's up 2%. Silver, that's up 9.3%. SoFi, thank you for going up a little bit. It helps out some of the pain. 23.13, that's up 5%. Is Hoodie getting a little bit of bounce as well? Hoodie, oh my gosh, Hoodie's not getting it. What is going on with Hood? I really don't know. I'll try to do some more research today, but my goodness, what is going on with Hood? They keep taking her down. It looks like she wants to go below 89 right here, 89.42. PayPal's down 19% on the day. Again, that one continues to get hit. Nvidia 185, Tesla 422, Broadcom's up 2%. The critical metal stocks are all up in the market open, up about 4 to 7%. Affirm's up 3%. Coinbase goes down 0.5%. Again, the fact that Coinbase is barely down, but Hood is down more if it's a crypto reason is kind of crazy. Verizon right there, that's up 1.23. That's up 5%. SoFi 23.28, up 5.4. Nice to see SoFi getting a little bit of love. Palantir holding on to 10%, 162.50. Hopefully that 162 can expand. We hit 165 last night, but we are holding a 10% move on Palantir as we get into the open. Dell is up 1.5%. VG's up 0.5%. DBB Metals ETF, that's up 2.5%. Google hit 350. Waymo's raising at like a freaking 120 billion valuation. They raised like 16 billion yesterday. So I guess Google getting a little bit of a boost from Waymo getting momentum. Google right there, 347. That's basically all-time highs. 4.2 trillion on the Googs. Getting some momentum. Zeta, are we red? Zeta, we are red. That's down 2.7% as well. Okay, so Zeta is getting sold off. A lot of the other software names are getting sold off. Wow, ServiceNow down 6%. The software names once again getting hit. Palantir being the exception because Palantir showed why they don't deserve to be lumped in with the other software names. Is Microsoft still getting hit? I saw Microsoft at 425 yesterday. I could not believe after it went from 421, bounced up to 440, that it came back to 425. Microsoft's at 417. What the hell is going on with software? This is getting kind of crazy. By the way, Hoodie just hit below 89 for a second, touched 88 for just a second right there, back at 89.21. Once again, you know, maybe people are selling off software names to buy Palantir. I mean, maybe that's happening, but my goodness, Microsoft, are we really going below 400? Are we really going below 400? Bloom Energy, congrats to those that are in that one. Big day, that's up 12%. I didn't see a headline, but I would imagine there might be something. T1 Energy, that's also up 4% of the day. So you're getting a lot of the energy names get some momentum. Fubo is down 29%. I don't know why that's down 29%, but then again, I don't know why anyone was super excited about Fubo in the first place. Like genuinely, I just don't know why people like the stock, but that's down 30%. So that one's getting hit as well. ETH at 2,200. Obviously, that's hurt BMNR and MicroStrategy. BMNR right there at 2276. MicroStrategy has been getting hit because of Bitcoin. MSTR at 139. Reverse split. Oh, that's ugly. That's not good. All right. So looks like they're doing a reverse split. Robinhood fighting back for 90. Grab goes green just a little bit. IWM, that's up 0.5%. Where is the S&P? Are we holding 690? Wow. See, this is the craziest part about the hood dip. And I understand people's frustration, but like S&P is basically at all-time highs. We're 5 points away from 7,000 and Robinhood is below the S&P inclusion price. Like, what the fuck is going on? What's happening? Like, I really am genuinely beyond. I would love to hear other people's theories, but I don't know. I really don't get it. It's not insiders. I mean, maybe there's some institution that's just saying we're rotating out of hood, but they're going to put up a pretty damn good quarter. So I understand it not rocketing to the moon, but being at these levels seems a little aggressive. So far right there, 2272, as that one is also getting a bit hit as well. Palantir now up 8%. It's trying to hold the momentum. It's trying to hold it. Obviously, you know, it's a day where a lot of software is getting hit. So if Palantir can hold it, that would be nice. 159.22 right there. That's up 7%. Money still pouring into gold. Maybe that's the reason. Robinhood right there, 89.49. Microsoft's the crazy dude. I still have not bought the Microsoft dip yet. I'm very excited, interested in buying it. I was excited to buy, but I started getting interested at 450, and then at 440, and then at 430, and then at 420, and I haven't pulled the trigger. And when you see it continue to go down, it's like at some point you have to pull the trigger, right? But it's scary. Like, this is like, are we really going below 400? What is the street so upset about here? Now, it shouldn't be scary. It's freaking Microsoft. Nvidia just went red on the day. All right, you're seeing a lot of names take a hit. You're seeing a lot of names take a hit right here. Yeah, they're getting a little ugly hit. Nvidia 183. SanDisk, that's up 5%. And then AMD, that is also up right here on the day. Tesla 423, silver 78.50, Google 345. That one goes red. Check out Intuit. Intuit is, wow, down 6.3%. Whoa. Oh boy. That's ugly. That is a bit ugly. Snowflake, Intuit again, software name. Snowflake down to, this is exactly like last Friday, dude. It's exactly like last Friday. We saw this whole thing happen. SPGI, that's down 7%. So I didn't see the market open yesterday. Like, I didn't do the market open, but I didn't see the software bloodbath. Why today? Did Palantir just suck the life out of everything? But even Palantir, which it's up 7%, but it just gave back a lot of juice because it was up 12%. This is incredible. Absolutely incredible. Look at SCHD. Yeah, this one has been having a move, right? The Schwab dividend ETF has been moving better than the software names, which is quite incredible. Adobe, that's down another 4%. That's ugly. Wow. This is pretty incredible. By the way, the SpaceX XAI merger, getting some details. XAI valued at 219 to 294 billion. SpaceX valued at 859 to 1.26 trillion. So they're acquiring probably in the middle 250 billion, and then SpaceX trying to go public at that 1.25 trillion. PayPal, that one's still getting hit. Now it's not below 40. I thought it'd go, I think some people thought it would go below 40. So the fact that it's holding on to 43 is at least some sign of strength. Zeta getting crushed, down 3%. SanDisk goes higher, up 3%. Nvidia getting hit. The rare earth names are moving. So again, momentum is on their side. Those are the ones that are getting some love. Silver and gold, again, holding on. Ondas, that's up about 1.79% as well. Open Door below $5. That one continues to get hit. Mortgage rates are not really coming down yet. Rich Tech Robotics, that's down 4%. Also getting hit. Palantir losing steam. It's a great quarter, but it's losing steam right here, up 6.7% on the day. Robinhood, are we below 89? Yeah. Guys, I really don't know. Like, I would love to hear other theories in the chat. I genuinely don't understand what's happening with Hood. I thought yesterday, I was like, all right, it's a crypto thing. Then I looked at Coinbase and I was like, this is not a crypto thing. Coinbase is barely down. This has got to be something different. Meta. Okay, Meta's holding on. Meta and Google are holding on. I guess those are your flights to safety. Even though Google about to go red, losing a lot of its juice. Meta trying to break through 715. Rocket Lab, yeah, where's Rocket Lab? Rocket Lab 77. Okay, Rocket Lab holding 4% is nice. Now, Rocket Lab obviously is taking an ugly hit. It was $99 2 weeks ago, went to 74 yesterday. The fact that it's even holding 77 is still pretty incredible. But obviously, Rocket Lab's also high beta. I think Rocket Lab's up also because the SpaceX XAI merger is a big deal, and that should juice up the IPO. By the way, now it's SpaceX because they acquired X. So, I mean, kind of works out. Like acquiring XAI, SpaceX. I think it makes sense. I think it makes a lot of sense. And now we just got to see if this happens for Tesla. ASTS also up, I think, on that news. Duolingo continues to be... Is this the worst stock on the planet, or is PayPal the worst stock on the planet? They're both fighting for contention, right? It's got to be between these two. Meta right there, 712. Snowflake down 3. Where's the SaaS names? Let's take a look at these. Wow. Look at Palantir. The only green in a sea of red. Snowflake, Datadog, Confluent, Oracle, below 160. Atlassian, Mongo, ServiceNow, Cloudflare, CrowdStrike, Zscaler, Twilio. Once again, these stocks are getting hit. What about Nebius? How's that one doing? Nebius, 88.91. Iran was at 63 last week. It's back to 54. I mean, you can't trust the upside move in any of these names. You just can't. CoreWeave was at freaking 115. It's at $88 right now. Like, there's people who bought CoreWeave at 112, and like, you can't even really blame them. I mean, the momentum was strong, everything seemed good, and then just boom, you get whacked with the data center space, primarily because of Oracle's announcements, and then all the data center names get hit. It's an incredibly volatile market, and you really do have to be, a stock picker. See, Grab's also competing for worst stock. Well, look, Grab's got earnings in 8 days. I am expecting some heavy growth guidance on Grab. And if we don't get it, I think the stock gets hit and we'll look and reevaluate the thesis. But they need to have not a PayPal quarter. They need to have a quarter where they say, hey, we are going to grow, and we are going to grow in a really exciting way. And if they don't, then we reevaluate. But my hope is that they will be growing pretty substantially. They will be guiding for pretty substantial growth. And then it's up to the street to see how they want to evaluate. So in about 10 days, we'll see that. And then we have Hood on February 10th. So we have Hood and Grab back to back right before Valentine's Day. So, you know, I'll either be taking the girlfriend to McDonald's after Hood and Grab, or a nice steakhouse. But we're going to have to see what Grab and Hood do for us. Rare earths are still moving. They're not necessarily slowing down based on that Trump announcement from yesterday. Someone just sold 7 million of puts on Nvidia at 182.50. 7 million of puts on Nvidia at 182.50. Piper Sandler raised Palantir to 230. 230 is their price target. Analyst cites rule of 40 score of 127 sees Palantir as an unrivaled software play with dual exposure to enterprise AI and defense modernization. Affirm got a price target upgrade to 76. Baidu 180 price target. Palantir outperform at Bard, price target 200. JP Morgan, SoFi 31. Adobe got a downgrade of Piper Sandler. I think that's the only software name that got a downgrade. I can't see. Yeah, it seems like Adobe's the main one. Palantir now losing. Again, a little bit more momentum. Microsoft, my goodness, 416. 416. Admit that new bell is far nicer and pleasant to hear. Should I ring the Chinese bell every day? Should I ring that? I like that one. She was like, it's from Tibet. I was like, is that Thailand? She was like, no, it's China. I was like, oh yeah, China. Sorry, Tibet, you know, China. Okay. I like it too. I like it. It's a very pleasant sound. So I like it as well. Da, thank you for the $100 super chat. Appreciate you, Amit, and sharing the journey of Palantir with other stocks. Your information keeps us informed to make great decisions. Much love, brother. Thank you for being here, man. Congrats on Palantir. Again, I think the stock should be up a lot more than it is today, but obviously the valuation is aggressive. It's just when you put up that type of growth, I think you warrant an aggressive expansion of the multiple here, if not just the stock price, even on a short-term basis. But again, this macro is confusing, guys. It's really confusing. We don't have a recession on the horizon. We have gold and silver going crazy. These freaking 10-year yields will not come down, which is not good for the cost of capital. Japan's, I mean, what do you say about Japan? They're printing money. They're raising rates. Their yields are going crazy. Like the yen is too high. Like it's a weird macro. And it feels like tech stocks are the ones that are putting up all the growth and all the earnings. AMD goes red on the day, but they're not benefiting. They're not benefiting. So it's confusing. It is confusing to say the least. You're seeing more momentum on these software stocks to the downside. Zeta right here is also getting hit. Yeah, Zeta still getting hit badly. Nvidia 183.54, that's down 1%. AMD 246. Trying to see, we don't have any freaking macro data today because of the shutdown either. Walmart just surpassed 1 trillion in market cap. What? Huh. Walmart up 125. So people are selling off Palantir and Nvidia and they're jumping into Walmart. Okay. There you go. Walmart is there. 1 trillion, baby. Walmart, we get 1 trillion. I mean, didn't expect to see that, but it was getting close. Walmart market value passes 1 trillion. Let's pull up the company market caps as well. Meta now the 6th largest company in the world. Walmart right there, 1 trillion. Pepsi also had a good earnings today. Let me pull up Pepsi. Pepsi 160, that's up 3%. Pepsi 220 billion as we get into this market open. This is wild, bro. Absolutely wild. I mean, again, the fact that silver and gold continue moving the way they are. Silver right here, 4.8 trillion. Nvidia now is just under silver, but silver was at 6.3. Silver was at 6.5 trillion last week. It's at 4.8. Like, I'm sorry, if I'm going to be in an asset that moves like that, I'd rather just be in a tech stock. I mean, why go through the pain of trusting macro industrial use cases of silver and gold? I'd rather just trust free cash flows for Nvidia if I'm going to deal with that type of volatility. Silver and gold continuing to get hit right here. Nebius 88.52, Iren 54.59, CoreWeave 89.97, Rocket Lab 77.28, Google at 3.44. AMD will have earnings after the bell. We are not going to listen to the call. We're going to do Technical Tuesday, but we will go through the numbers, which should be out, I think, at 4:15. Yeah, Walmart is in the QQQ as well. And so, yeah, we'll go through those AMD numbers. But again, the pre-market was fake for AMD. Completely fake. 247. This thing was at 252. Again, the pre-market fake outs have been pretty aggressive this entire year, as well as we've been seeing. Microsoft's, to me, is still the most surprising. I mean, guys, this company is about to go below 3 trillion in market cap, which is, I mean, it's Microsoft, dude. Like, it's not like they're not growing. Is the OpenAI overhang that big of it? Like, I feel like that has to be the reason. Also, people that clarify Microsoft as a SaaS company, it's like, sure. But I think if anyone were to commoditize Microsoft's products with AI, it would be Microsoft, because they also are using AI in a pretty heavy way. And you can't just classify it as SaaS. You have to classify it as AI infrastructure because Azure is their fastest growing business. So it's weird to say Microsoft should be getting hit just because of SaaS. But then again, it's weird for ServiceNow and all these other companies to be getting hit in the SaaS space as well. Robinhood right there, 88.85, still below that 89 level. Intel's getting a pump because SoftBank apparently is going to be investing more money into them and doing some partnership. Again, Intel is one of those plays this year, which we've talked a lot about it. It's it's just one of those names, right? That there's a bunch of different tailwinds in a variety of different ecosystems. Yeah, Intel tweeted this last night. Intel and SoftBank, Duolingo potentially below 125. Intel and SoftBank are collaborating on next generation stack DRAM architecture designed to push AI and high performance computing forward with higher capacity, lower power, and advanced packaging. Bullish memory, bullish Intel, and bullish SoftBank, and that's why Intel is getting some love. So that's what you're seeing right there. We do not have jolts. We do not have jolts as the market is, or the government is shut down. Tibet is not actually in China. You know, I don't know that much about the inner workings of China. Okay, so it's from Tibet. Whether that's for in China or not, I don't know. This is probably why I'm not gonna be allowed in China, because of the shit I say on this stream. But you know, Beijing says it's part of China. Other people say it's not part of China. I'll let other people. Why can't we just have the United States? You know, like California is part of the United States. North Carolina is part of the United States. Across the world, we have all these different controversies. But so people can people can debate that themselves, bro. I thought it was in Thailand, so at least I had to be a bit corrected on how close it actually was. It's not Microsoft that's going down hard. It's OpenAI. Yeah, I mean, but see, then you got Amazon last week saying we're going to put $50 billion into OpenAI, and I'm like, okay, why the hell is Amazon putting $50 billion in OpenAI if OpenAI is a scam? It's like, well, maybe because they're going to buy a lot of AWS compute, but also, is the street happy with Amazon having a $50 billion stake in OpenAI? 244 on Amazon right here. Tibet is like Texas. You know, there have been a lot of people saying one day Texas will attempt to dismantle themselves from the union and be their own country. I don't think that would ever happen. I don't think California would ever do it either, although I think it has made the ballot once, but yeah, it's probably not going to happen. Moody's is down 7%. Dude, what is going on, bro? What is going on? Moody's down 7, SPGI, S&P Global and Moody's do the credit ratings for the United States. I'm not sure why these stocks are getting hit as much as they are getting hit, but they are. Microsoft 415, new low of the day. Shopify down 4. Again, I want to buy Shopify. I said I wanted to buy it last week at 138. I didn't pull the trigger. It's at 126, which makes it a little scary to buy at 126. So it's just going to 120. And not because, like, you know, anything's wrong with the business. It's just like, what is the falling knife that is being associated with these software names that are causing these prices? Adobe 280. When's the last time we saw Adobe 280? Last time we saw Adobe 280, folks. Last time we saw Adobe 280, actually at 278. Wow. October 2022. If I'm not wrong, this is right before the Figma acquisition that didn't happen. October 22. 4 years ago. What is happening? Oil prices. Oil is up on the day. I mean, it was up last Friday as well, so maybe that's part of some of the pain. Obviously, crypto is getting hit. Crypto, again, just my quick thoughts on it. A lot of people have been asking. I think I've said this over and over again, but everything that could possibly go right for crypto is going right, and crypto is not moving. So I don't know. I do know that Saylor is about to be below his purchase price on MicroStrategy, and I wonder what's going to happen. Now, he said he's protected until Bitcoin goes to 0, which I don't think it will, but you know, at some point things can get pretty ugly. So Tom Lee, obviously it's been a disaster. BMNR is now sitting on $6 billion of losses on Ethereum. It's funny because, you know, Tom did a podcast over the weekend and he was like, yeah, the bottom will be 2,400 and then it's going to bounce. And it's like, bro, it's really hard to predict this shit because guess what? The bottom was not 2,400. We are currently right now lower than 2,400. So, I mean, this is just like, you know, trying to do these predictions is just not, it's not working. And it really makes people think, well, why does he keep saying the bottom is here, the bottom is here? Is he incentivized? Is he just trying to get his stock-based comp? Like, what's going on here? But these price targets, not to mention, you know, Ethereum 9,000 by the end of January, it's not been working out.
technical perspective, this is what Tom DeMark actually is expected. So he's been hired as an advisor at BitMine, and he actually told us Thursday was an important day. And it turns out today was an important day because we've had a big decline in crypto. But this is more akin to the end of the selling, not the beginning.
So you don't think that we're seeing another leg lower?
Well, for instance, Ethereum might go to 2,400, but it's a touch, and then that's the bottom. But that's going to coincide with precious metals peaking. I mean, remember, precious metals has sucked all the risk appetite out of speculation, out of crypto, right? A lot of it's come out of crypto into precious metals.
It's like
I think he's right about that. I do think the precious metals have taken away all the speculation from crypto, but he's basically saying Bitcoin and Ethereum go up when gold and silver peak. And I don't love the gold and silver trade, but dude, I mean, are they going to peak anytime soon? And when they did peak on Friday, short term, as you can see that drop right there, 109 to 70 on SLV last Friday, Bitcoin was flat, right? Like we all saw that drop on Friday, 30%, worst day in history, and Bitcoin was flat. So where's that rotation? Like, oh, by the way, SanDisk losing all of its luster today, 667. The stock was pushing 700 about 10 minutes ago. That's down. So the memory names losing some steam, which I mean should be happening. Micron going red. I don't want them to go down for the sake of going down, but if you're seeing a broad market meltdown, you probably should be seeing every sector getting hit. If memory somehow was making new all-time highs in the face of Microsoft going below 415, then you either have way too much speculation in memory, or memory is like the next best thing since sliced bread. And we just have to accept that. It was really? SanDisk hit 725 today? My goodness, dude. Yeah, you're right. It did hit 725. Someone bought it at 720. Now it's at 664. You know, these names, again, are just very volatile. Microsoft hit 414.87. What are my thoughts on Amcor? That's a good question. Amcor, I mean, look, Amcor is still up 20% this year. Amcor has held on to its momentum. Amcor, Intel, a lot of these onshoring names have done well. I think Amcor is going to crush earnings. I don't think there's any headwinds for Amcor, which is why this is held up. Same thing with Bloom Energy. A lot of these smaller names have held up throughout the Bloom is up like 70% this year. So, you know, a lot of these names have still done really well. Wow, Nvidia 182. She's getting hit. Apple, which had a great earnings, 271. Okay, Apple's a little bit of safety today. The VIX isn't that high. That's correct. The Iran news, nothing came out over the weekend about Iran. With some strikes or anything. So we didn't have major escalation in Iran. I don't know if that could be causing any pain here or if that's part of it. Nvidia right there, 182. Tesla almost below 420. Bloom had two major deals. Yeah, the Quanta deal was really important a couple weeks ago. And then again, T1 Energy, this is a name I'm actually getting a little bit more interested in. They're doing $800 million in revenue, market cap at $2.35 billion. They're not going to be profitable for a while, but a lot of these energy names are not as expensive, especially the ones that haven't moved like crazy. But you're definitely going to have to sacrifice profitability. But the point is that broader utilities sector has been doing well, and then the high growth energy names are going to be more volatile than general utilities, but they also have a bid associated with them, just like drones, nuclear, all that stuff has. But a lot of those stocks have taken a breather. Like Ondas, this thing was pushing 14 last week. You know, now it's at 10. Now it's up from 50 cents not too long ago. But some of these names definitely did have a bit of a run. Same thing with the space names. Quantum on the day, D-Wave's down 1.3%. All right, so you're seeing Quantum take a little bit of a hit. Again, those names also did well at the beginning of January. Duolingo, that's down 6%. Figma under 22. Wow. Figma is a classical SaaS name. So Figma down 9%. Gold and silver seem stable. I disagree. I don't think silver being up 10% right now after it went down 35% 3 days ago is stable. Like I just it's scary getting into these trades right now. I mean, how many people that were buying on Friday felt there was no issue? And then within I don't even know how a candle goes that. It's almost like silver released earnings and they missed on everything. It was disgusting. $3 trillion in market cap wiped out within seconds. Not minutes, within seconds. And so I don't know. Just because it's up today, I don't know if that highlights any stability. I think that just is part of the speculated. I think we're at a point in capitalism where people are gambling on gold and silver. And I don't know what that says about capitalism, but it's weird. PayPal down 18% on the day. That one's still getting hit. TTD, is that one getting hit? TTD down 5%. So the app advertising name's getting hit. AppLovin. I mean, there's a lot of people that like this stock, but they liked it at 500, liked it at 550. It's at 459. I mean, goodness. The fact that Palantir's green today, we got to be grateful for. And it's lost a lot of its excitement at 154 right here, but everything getting hit. Everything getting hit. Is the USA collapsing? That's a good question. I don't think it is. But obviously, it feels like the way these assets are getting hit, it could be. Oracle down 155, market manipulation. I don't know if it's just market manipulation, guys. You got to remember, a lot of these funds are also invested in the same names that we're in. So I don't know if it's just like the markets are manipulating. I know it's an easy way to answer this, but this is now 2 days where software gets destroyed. Are you buying anything in this dip? Well, let's ask that question in the chat. What are people thinking of buying in this dip? I mean, I bought a little bit of Zeta last week. I bought SoFi last week. I bought Palantir after the bell yesterday. Again, Microsoft, I feel like I just should pull the trigger on this at this point. And at some point, right, we're gonna have to, if I want to buy this name, how much is it down? 480 to 415. What's the drawdown on that? That's 35% drawdown. Is that right? No, I'm bugging. It's like 20%. A little bit less than 20%. About 15. Yeah, it's about 17% drawdown. I feel like at some point you got to pull the trigger. There's no jolts. The government shut down. We don't get any of that data. No jolts. When do you step in on Hood, or are you happy with what you built out? I've built out a very massive position on Robinhood. I've, quite frankly, hedged it effectively to not have to. Like, if I didn't put that hedge on Hood, oh my! And this was back to my Substack back in December, right? It was like, I have to start thinking about preserving capital. If Robinhood went to 160, I would miss out on a bunch of gains. But if it went to 87, I would really not be in a good position. So. And that is one thing I'm proud of myself in the beginning of the year to do. But like, look, I don't need more Hood stock. I have enough. It's just, is it a stupid dip? Because if it's a stupid dip on one of my favorite names, then I want to add, but I don't understand why it's getting hit like this. Meta, dude, are we about to lose 700? 703 on Meta. The hedge is a $100 call in the money, sold for January 2027. I'll put the Substack in the description or in the chat. You can read through it, but the time to do it was when Hood was at 121, 125. By the way, I did that for my sister as well. And, you know, she has a pretty big position that she needed to protect as well. The time to do is when the stock is high, even though it sucks doing it, because if the stock goes higher, you feel dumb because you're missing out on gains, but that is the time when you need to protect. And, you know, it's the first time I've even thought of hedging in my portfolio because, you know, there's actually a position worth putting a hedge on if you're feeling uncomfortable. But now the question is, like, how low are we going here? Like, and at what point do I buy back these calls and buy the stock at this point and ride it back higher? And it's just very confusing how this is playing out. Google right here, 341. That one continues to go lower. Jason said Microsoft under 415 goes to 375. 375, I feel like that would be another 320 billion in market cap for Microsoft getting hit. I don't know, dude. I don't freaking know. Austin says, I think Hood is getting hit because margin book growth and options contract growth have both peaked in the cycle. Market found its upper bound of junk stocks, crypto, and ripper rallies. Okay, that's a good point. So if we see the the numbers for February. Did we get January data yet? Did we get the monthly January data? No, we're gonna get that in like we're gonna get that next week. So, okay, so in January, if we see margin growth deaccelerate and options growth deaccelerate, that's a good point. Yeah, we probably should wait to buy this dip, because the problem is if the market is rotated to all these high beta stocks and Robinhood's not getting the benefit of that, especially because one could argue that we are a little toppy because we've rotated to high beta and the large caps have been so stable that the overall retail trading activity has topped for the cycle. Theoretically, that could be the bear case. Then Hood's trading volumes are going to decline. Now, there's other things Hood has that can benefit them, like their net interest income. But if rates come down, that net interest income is going to get hit as well. But if rates come down and trading volumes don't go up, then they're going to get hit both ways, which again would create just like an incredible opportunity, like a phenomenal dip buy on Hoodie. But it also would be a catch-22, unfortunately, in the short term. And this comes down to, can Vlad pivot the business enough to, again, let me just say this unequivocally. If you think Vlad is not looking at this stock price down from 150 to 88 and being sick to his stomach, you don't know Vlad. I mean, he is not the type of CEO that wants to be getting on earnings calls, seeing his stock down 10%, having to deal with tweets every other day, tagging him in the stock going down. I mean, he's an animal, and I think he's going to try his hardest to paint a story to the street of growth that allows the street to remember why they loved Robinhood in the first place. But right now it's a little dicey, and it's not just Robinhood's fault. A lot of it's crypto, and a lot of it's just fintech in general not being in favor. SoFi right there, 22.35. That's up a little bit on the day. We were expecting a 15 to 20% bear correction this year. Is this just chop, or is this the beginning? That's also a good question. My perspective, and I've said this, I think I've been pretty consistent on it, is I'm not sure why we would need a 20% drawdown on the S&P 500, which would bring us back down to like 5,500. S&P now down 0.39% of the day. Valuations have already been corrected a decent chunk across the market. I mean, are there some small companies that are super expensive? Sure. But like, you just can't tell me that SoFi is the most expensive stock in the world, or AppLovin is way more expensive than it was at 750, or that Microsoft at almost below 3 trillion is expensive, or that Nvidia. Like, I don't think valuation would be the reason for the correction. I don't think recession is the reason for the correction. I mean, geopolitical stuff maybe could happen. The Dixie and the dollar losing momentum, that could happen. But like, I mean, what's the actual reason we need a 20% bear market? It's not earnings growth. And 2022, outside of raising rates, that was the reason. Meta, Amazon, these companies could not justify the earnings they were putting up in comparison to their valuation, and we were raising rates. We're not going to be raising rates, I hope, over the next year. And earnings have been amazing. So, maybe we're just getting back to a standard market delivery growth rate of 8%, 9%, right? And we've been blessed with this 20% back to back for the past couple of years. But then again, the reason we got this 20% is because of this whole AI revolution, which I think everything goes back to this thesis around AI, which is not slowing down, in my opinion. The numbers are showing it's not slowing down. TSMC's earnings, SanDisk's earnings, etc. So if the fundamental catalyst, like when the dot-com bubble imploded, the market imploded. The AI bubble, A, might not be a bubble. B, we don't see. I mean, look at Palantir's results. Do you see that imploding? Like, you can disagree with Palantir's valuation, which again has a sort of one-of-one valuation, especially in the software space. But that's not a necessarily bubble that's collapsing that's showing AI is fake. Shopify down 5%. So if it's not recession, if it's not geopolitics, and it's not AI, it's not earnings growth, I feel like it's more chopped than the beginning of a 20% bear. But then again, maybe there's plenty of things I'm not looking at that could be affecting this. Microsoft is now down year to date. That's correct. Have you made any moves on SoFi? No, I am just holding a bag. That's just literally holding the bag. I haven't even sold any calls on it. and I'll probably sell some calls for this week and try to scrape away a little bit of premium. You know, at some point, you just got to wait for the stock to go back up. And does anyone think SoFi deserve to get down 15% on those? Like, sometimes you look at an earnings and you can't be mad. Like PayPal, yeah, it deserves to get hit. Like, it was a horrible earnings and the CEO left. SoFi crushed it. It was a great quarter. And for the fact that the stock stayed at basically 26 to 27 for 3 months, which means you can't be like, oh, it was a joke that it was at those levels. I'm like, dude, it consolidated in a range for since August, right? So almost 4 months. And then just destroys that range and gaps down 15%. Like, that is a weird form of price action that I just don't think a lot of people expected. Microsoft 413. She's going lower. She's going lower. Julian says, historically, when we have months of chop, it tends to resolve higher. The S&P keeps going higher while we continue chopping. Names go lower. This is positive. I agree with that. Going to Julian's point, the S&P is basically at all-time highs. We are not seeing the S&P down 4 or 5% to start the year. We are seeing it up 1%. Maybe it goes flat, but I think that's also positive that the S&P is held on, which means the broader market is held on, even if these certain names haven't. And it means we should come back better than ever, especially because there's no sort of fundamental catalyst, I think, that is taking us down. The entire market dumping is weird price action. I agree. Now, this is the heat map. As you can see right here, real estate's up, utilities are up, industrials are up, consumer defensives, Walmart's up. Financials, SoFi's not up, but JP Morgan. Dude, like, what is going on? JP Morgan was 295 last week. Now it's basically back to all-time highs at 316. But all the other banks that are growing way faster are getting hit. Not all-time highs. 335 was all-time highs. But still, 295 to 316 for a $800 billion company is a hell of a move. And that's part of the reason the S&P has been held up, because of names like JP Morgan. But these other names are not getting any love. It's weird. The high multiples are contracting. That's a fair point. SoFi did have a high multiple. I'm not going to argue with that. And, you know, now their multiple's lower than what I think it was, like a 50 PE going into the print. Now it's at like 37, but on the forward basis. But they're delivering the growth to maybe justify that multiple. Or the street's like, no, there is, you know, nothing can justify the multiple and they need to contract. Maybe that's what's happening with Hood as well, which is the multiple is too strong. Even if they deliver 40% growth, it's not enough to justify it, which, you know, markets have gone into those cycles where high growth is still not enough. And maybe that could be happening. Lindsey Graham just said, after the massive attack last night on Ukraine from Russia, I would urge President Trump to start a process to provide Ukraine with Tomahawk missiles, which would be a game changer militarily. In the coming days and week, we must apply more pressure to Putin. Okay. Escalating wars geopolitically is not the best thing to see. But I guess that could be something the market is pricing in. Tomahawk missiles. Dude, Trump has been trying to end this Ukraine-Russia thing for like 2 years at this point. And obviously he has not been able to get it done. I don't know if giving Ukraine Tomahawk missiles is going to get us closer to making any progress here. I think it might take some time. Oh my gosh, bro. What a market. Like Nvidia, again, like if these Openai headlines about diversifying from Nvidia chips, even if those are true, we know Nvidia is going to have a crazy earnings, blowing away all expectations. Is it really about to go below 180 right here, 181? And what does that mean for AMD? Does Lisa Su show off 35, 40% growth in AMD tanks? Again, it's just a little confusing. It's like if there was a real reason to justify this stuff, I think we would talk about it. But I think it's frustrating because a lot of people don't necessarily see why that's happening. U.S. plans to issue license for companies to pump Venezuelan oil. Okay, we knew that was coming. Exxon is up 2% on the day. So Exxon getting the benefit of that. Yeah, we looked at the Sam Altman tweet about how they love working with Nvidia. I don't know. These reports are weird, dude. I mean, you had a lot of articles over the weekend saying that Nvidia and Jensen Huang and Openai are not happy with each other. But I guess time will tell, and we'll see if they get more orders. SanDisk right there, and that's down 3% on the day. Pepsi had a great earnings. Pepsi is up 5% on the day. Pepsi doesn't move 5% that often, but Pepsi getting some love. Let me check the actual earnings on this. By the way, Bitcoin ETFs, they got $500 million of inflows year to date, but net flows are still negative slightly. So although the Bitcoin ETFs are finally getting a little bit of love, they're not getting the type of love they were getting last year. And, that's not been the best. That has not been the best for Bitcoin and these ETFs. Pepsi, they beat by 1%. Revenue's up 6%. EPS is up 15%. Major builders set to weigh plan for 1 million Trump homes. Okay, so we had Trump accounts. And now we have Trump homes. You can buy your Trump home with a 50-year mortgage. Why not? Lennar, are we up? Lennar's up 4%. This is crazy, bro. This is crazy. The price action today is rooted in what Trump has allowed these companies to do. We're going to allow companies to pump Venezuelan oil. Boom, Exxon's up. We're going to allow companies to build Trump homes. Boom, Lennar is up. Yeah, Trump phones. Is that why Verizon's pumping? Is the Trump phone getting an action? Verizon right there, 45.38. Bro. Again, this market is like not caring about Nvidia's results. They're caring about momentum and the catalyst for that momentum. DR Horton, another big home builder, that's up 4%. Associated with the headline, which, by the way, to give the Bears a little bit of credit right here, it's not good to see that per se, to see the market gyrate over headlines into sectors that are in the thematic of the headline, like rare earths, for example, and then swing 10% up and down every other week. If anything, that's more of a topping sign than not. Like, that's like you're getting late cycle, and people are just gambling on whatever they think they can gamble on, gold and silver being the prime example of that. Now, again, I think there's too many fundamental arguments around the market with rates going lower and earnings going higher to hedge against that overall bear case. But to give the bear some credit, that's not good to see. Like, for the market to ignore real earnings and then just pile into home building stocks today because of a plan to build 1 million Trump homes, which probably has zero actual credibility around it in the short term. I don't know. It's not necessarily the best to see. You know what? We need to sell Nvidia and buy UPS, because your packages being delivered is really what makes the world go round, to be honest. This stock is an important part of the economy. Palantir, are we losing steam? 157. It's at least holding. Bounce from 154. Buy the memory dip. All right, let's do a poll in the chat. Who the hell is buying this memory dip? I'm curious. Now that you guys have seen SanDisk earnings, you've heard everything around memory. You've heard, like, Jensen at the beginning of the show say it's a super cycle. Give me your yes or no. 67% of you said we'll go green today. Are you buying any memory? I'm very curious to see what people think. By the way, we have our boy Brent, who has never loved Palantir on the valuation. Let's see what he has to say about these earnings.
Outlook, annual revenue seen between $7.18 billion and $7.2 billion. The estimate going in had been for $6.27 billion. So quite a beat there when it comes to the expectation.
Revenue. And it's still one of the most expensive names. And we've had a whole group that's under massive duress because of what is AI going to do. So they're fundamentally in a great spot. Obviously, valuation is why the stock is sold off from over $200 to mid 150s,
right,
is because everyone's checking the valuation and realizing it doesn't really make a lot of sense.
Well, valuation being one thing, let's talk a little bit more about fundamentals, because we know that Palantir makes the lion's share of its revenue from its government contracts. We know that there has been a push to maybe diversify that out to commercial contracts as well. What are you seeing there in terms of progress?
Yeah, I mean, the commercial business, they're guiding growth of over 115%. So, I mean, there are not too many companies putting up those numbers, right? We talk about a 10 to 15% growth rate for a lot of the large cap names, and they're pushing 115. So, it's not even really.
That's a 10 to 15x divergence from the average software company. Again, Palantir doesn't have to go back to 200, but that is the reason why I think it can continue to hold this multiple. And if we get a really ugly dip, I think it's got to be on the list to buy when you're growing at 115% and the average software company is barely growing at 15.
Terrible. And I think this goes back to every boardroom globally is thinking about AI. They're thinking about, how do I implement this, whether I'm healthcare or I'm a retail company, whatever your business you're in, you're thinking about this first and foremost in the boardroom. And they've done a great job. You have commercial companies now highlighting them on earnings calls, saying that the product is taking costs out of the supply chain. They're putting people in hospitals faster and getting the right healthcare. So, I mean, they're solving problems, as they say, that no one else can solve. And I think they really solved the puzzle, which was the Tesla problem at the beginning. The car can only shuttle around doctors, lawyers, and people that have 30 years of experience because they're so expensive. And what they figured out is how to bring the software more to the mass market, to more commercial companies. And they have done a really good job of solving this. And so putting up 115% growth is pretty incredible. And I think it shows they've overcome the problem, which was, where for a very few select people, they're now showing with these numbers that they can address a bigger portion of the commercial market, which is exceptional. And I'd say that the companies that we talk to in our industry that love data are all acknowledging how well Palantir is doing. And so if you talk to Oracle, you talk to many others, even Mark Benioff is talking about, the model of forward deployed engineers. That tells you a lot about, the fundamentals and how they run and the success they're having. And so I think that's when others in the industry.
So again, Brent's major concern is valuation, but outside of that, it's really hard to deny some of the fundamentals right here. Palantir 156, Nvidia still basically at the lows of the day, 180.79. TeraWulf's up 10%. They closed an aluminum factory for $200 million for a 450 megawatt data center capacity. TeraWulf, that its stock is up 10%. So that one's leading in the data center space. APLD's flat on the day. Nebius also not necessarily red on the day. Same thing with Iran. These aren't red, but they're just not up a lot. Reddit, 169. Netflix new 52-week low. Is it? Yeah, 81.45. Who's buying the dip on Netflix? By the way, the majority of you have said you are not touching memory. Which, look, I agree, but I also understand the people that are saying SanDisk's forward PE is less than 10. Micron's is like 15. Like, I get it. Like, the run has been spectacular, but these names aren't expensive even after that run. It's just no one wants to be the person to buy and then boom, something happens with memory and it's like, all right, the run's over. And the reasons the PEs were so cheap was because it was cyclical. No one wants to be stuck in that. And I get it. I mean, it's just there's too much opportunity cost to being in that position. But then again, if you understand the memory space really well, better than other people, you deserve the gains that you've gotten from these stocks. Intel right here going a little red from 51, but 49.90, still up about 2% on the day. Does Robinhood have a new event on March 6th? I saw that headline. Did they tweet about it? I saw a couple of people tweeting about it. Yes. Flight path set. Robinhood presents Take Flight on March 4th in New York City. Okay, so that was announced today. I don't know what that means. I don't know if it's their gold event because it's not this typical branding for gold. It's at a hotel in New York. I mean, I don't know what they're. I genuinely have no idea what that's going to be. But maybe it's a new product launch. Maybe it's. I don't know. Yeah, Hood also has an event in the UK. They're expanding a lot more in the UK. The ISAs are now out in the UK, which should be really good. They're starting to market there more heavily. But I'm not sure what this New York event is gonna look like. Rocket Lab. You can't bet on Nvidia and against memory. Rocket Lab's up 5%. I agree. You can't bet on Nvidia and bet against memory. Now, it's not necessarily going short memory. It's more so, do you want to go long, even if you're not bearish? Hey, look, fundamentally, I get it. These names aren't expensive. And they should be good buys. I don't know. You got to have a stomach to be able to deal with it. I mean, SanDisk is up 17x from the lows, which doesn't mean it can't go higher. It's just, there might be some people that want to take profits eventually as well. Nvidia loses 180. Nvidia loses 180. Meta's got to lose 700, right? Meta lost 700. Wow. Nvidia losing 180. Meta losing 700. I mean, they're going to take these down. Take them down. Give us some juicier prices if they're going to do it today. I would not be surprised to see Palantir go red, unfortunately. If Nvidia and Meta are getting hit this bad, Palantir's holding up today nicely, but it's already down from that 165 level. As the biggest companies in the world getting hit, it's going to hurt everybody. UNH, that's down. GameStop, this thing's down. Dude, see, what universe are we living in with GameStop? Michael Burry. At this point, dude, I've just completely lost whatever little ounce of respect I thought I had. Not to say he's a horrible human being or something, but he's telling people in his Substack to go crazy and apeshit and meme stock. Meme like no one has ever memed before is what he's telling all of the people reading his Substack around GameStop. Like, what are we doing here, bro? Nvidia, Palantir, all these companies with real revenue and profits are a bubble. They're all fake. But hey, GameStoppers, if you want to get rich on GME, meme like no one has memed before. What world are we living in where he's supposed to be a value investor and he's telling people to meme it up, to pump his bags? Are you serious? That's what's happening now? Like, it's weird, bro. It's freaking weird. And so I don't know what divergence we're seeing, but we are seeing a weird one. Palantir, again, it's holding 6%, which is really good on a day like this. And it deserves to. So if this thing actually does go red, I do think dip buyers will come in based on those results. But the bulls are not letting the bears get that easy of a opportunity on Palantir, as again, those results, it's hard to go red on those numbers. Nebius right there, still 90, Meta 697, Rocket Lab holding 78. Johnson is live talking about this shutdown. Let's see if we can get any level of analysis here. I mean, I have not been kept up to date on the shutdown. From my understanding, it's a partial shutdown, and the shutdown will be resolved soon. But maybe I'm wrong. Let's see this.
A sufficient legal authority to go and apprehend someone. Violated the law. They providing the vital services and trying to make government work more efficiently and effectively for everyone. After that long historic shutdown that was so painful, appropriators in both parties got together. I tip my hat to Chairman Tom Cole of the House Republican chair of the Appropriations Committee and all of our committee members, the Cardinals, the subcommittee chairs, as we call them, all worked so well in their areas. And we got 12 separate appropriations bills passed through the House. And we had a triumphant press conference announcing that. We expected it to be on a glide path through the Senate. But of course, the Democrats could not miss an opportunity to try to shut the government down again. That's what they're doing. Chuck Schumer and the Senate Democrats play games with government.
The volume on that stream is not the best, but for those that didn't hear it, Johnson is basically blaming Chuck Schumer and the Democrats for the shutdown. I don't know if they're going to go back and forth in this whole political hoopla that they did last time, because theoretically a deal is on the table and should be reached. But they are I mean, Johnson is once again blaming the Democrats here. My thought was he's going to say, hey, we just need a couple days to work this out. But if it's really back and forth politically again, then I don't know. This could get potentially a little ugly if this lasts longer. MP, that's up 8%. Let's talk about this SpaceX news real quick, then we'll keep going from there.
Incorporated that not that long ago, and now we'll be bringing this deal to the fore to combine both companies. The overall combination value, at least according to the investment bank that was employed to sort of give a value on both, about $1.25 trillion. They gave a range, this bank. They didn't give a fairness opinion. They simply gave a range based on a number of what we're told are methodologies that they use to sort of understand it. Don't have any transparency in terms of what those methodologies were. Love to see that, but there you have it. $859 billion to $1.26 trillion for SpaceX, $219 billion to $294 billion for XAI. The last round of funding done at each was, I think, around $800 billion at SpaceX or so, and about $200 billion at XAI. So obviously above that, but fairly closely tied to where those were. And what's it all about? Well, conceivably, you're going to see an IPO from this combination now of SpaceX and XAI as soon as June. We'll see whether they can actually meet that in terms of on the calendar, given a lot of work has to be.
Microsoft 412. What is happening, bro? This has got to be institutions that are selling her off. Completely selling her off. Johnson announces the House will vote on Tuesday to advance legislation aimed at ending the brief government shutdown. All right, so we will be getting a vote in the next probably 5 hours. Maybe it's a little bit later at night, so we'll know by the end of the day if this government can reopen. Microsoft. Put in the chat why you think Microsoft's getting hit. Let's hear some theories on what people think is happening. Thad, thanks for the super chat. Hood dip related to football coming to an end. I do agree Q2 is going to be rough for the prediction markets, but I don't think that's enough for Hood to be trading at these levels. Hood trying to get a little recovery right here, but yeah, you are right. Q2 is not going to have a lot of prediction market volume. Kata, thanks for the super chat. Amid, I'm an immigrant who started investing from your channel, started with 5 years ago, now planning to have a home in 2027. Thank you so much. Let's keep pushing. Congratulations. Met a lot of people at the meetup who also started their investing journey 5 years ago, and it's done well for a lot of us, and that's kind of the goal of it. And on the red days, the goal for all of us is to come together and try to figure out what the hell's happening. That's what a lot of you guys said at the meetup as well, is that on the red days, you really appreciate the streams more than anything, because it can be nerve-wracking and psychologically hard to navigate the equity markets, just feeling like there is no bottom and the bottom falling out. And, today is not necessarily like that type of a day, but you're seeing it in certain sectors, especially software outside of Palantir, where it just looks weird. Microsoft right there, 412, as that's down. Copilot is clippy. That's why that's down. I mean, Copilot had good growth, though, last quarter. It's not like Copilot is not producing billions of revenue for them. But it's just, dude, Microsoft's one of those institutional stocks. Like, it's not even a heavy retail name. People don't sell. I mean, institutions don't just sell off Microsoft for the hell of it. It's kind of like Apple. It's like, like if you bought it, you bought it. It's a staple of your portfolio. If you're a fund manager, you don't get blamed if Microsoft goes red. And you can always justify holding Microsoft. And today we're just seeing it go the opposite. Yes, we'll have Technical Tuesday today. We'll do AMD earnings. Is there anything else that's important besides AMD? And then we'll get into TT probably by around 4:40 today. Chipotle, SMCI, Enphase, Take-Two, Mondelez, EA Sports, and AMD. Okay, so those are the big ones we have today, and Amgen. So we'll look at all those earnings, and then probably by around 4:40 Eastern, we will get into TT. Snapchat is tomorrow. Snapchat is not today. Wow, Snap down 6%. Goodness gracious. Uber's also down 3%. Is Oklo up today? Yeah, Oklo's up 7. Now, again, I'm not going to shit on Oklo, okay? I'm just saying, like, if Oklo's up because nuclear energy is so important for data centers, and those data centers are running on cloud computing like Azure, and Microsoft's growing Azure at 38%, doing 80 billion of net income, and Oklo's doing nothing, but Microsoft's losing market cap and Oklo's gaining it. It just feels weird. I'm not saying you can't make an argument for that happening. It feels a little weird. And it's kind of like, what the hell's going on? We're gambling on Oklo and we're selling off Microsoft. Again, not trying to hit on Oklo. And again, it's probably a good way to gain access to nuclear exposure. It's just, really? Microsoft gets sold off for its... Or we're selling off Nvidia and buying Oklo? Like, there is no Oklo without Nvidia. There's no need for all this energy from nuclear if we don't have data centers. So, it's weird. It's weird. Salesforce. Okay, Salesforce. Look, I've never been a fan of Salesforce. I don't think it needs to be below 200. But Karp definitely took some shots at Salesforce yesterday without saying Salesforce. And I mean, he was right. Like, it's at the end of the day, Salesforce is not putting up the growth they need to justify any level of excitement. Now, does it deserve to go below 200? Probably not. This stock is now down how much year to date? It's got to be more than 25, I think. Salesforce year to date, 21. All right. So 21% year to date on what was a $250 billion company is pretty aggressive. But the street's not excited about anything Salesforce is doing. Doesn't deserve it. Neither does ServiceNow. But again, for all the people that hate Palantir's valuation, they're like, Palantir is doing at least something different than the SaaS names, which is showing explosive freaking growth. And the other names are just not. And by the way, if Palantir didn't do it, Palantir would be obliterated. So, like, they have to do it. They're doing it way beyond everyone's expectations, which is why they're holding up. The other names don't deserve this pain. Don't get it. They do. ServiceNow does not deserve to be almost below $100, but they're also just not showing that crazy explosive growth. Intuit doesn't deserve it. I agree. I'm not saying any of these names deserve it. It is just, wow, if you don't put up the growth in software in particular, Intuit's down 9%. Bro, we have tax season coming up. By the way, how the hell am I going to pay my taxes, bro? What this is not fun to have to deal with all this shit before tax season. But like, how is Intuit down 10%? Like, what is happening here? BMNR is going to $5. Goodness gracious, dude. BMNR 22.54. That's down 2%. Do you like ServiceNow? Would you do a deep dive on it? I'd be willing to do a deep dive on it. I don't know if I love the name enough to invest in it. Again, at some point, I think things get ridiculous. And I wonder if software names are just getting ridiculous. But I would have to really love the valuation, because honestly, at this point, any other software name is distracting me from Palantir. And Zeta, the reason I like it is because I think the valuation is so undervalued compared to their growth. Again, Zeta's putting up real growth. And they're not profitable yet. So yes, you're taking a little bit of a risk because they're not profitable, but it's very obvious in the next 6 months they're going to be profitable. And a re-rating on that stock, I think, is very likely. But trusting these other software names right now in a world in which Palantir is putting up that type of guidance, the valuation would have to be very attractive to not lean into growth. Roblox right there. That's Roblox. This thing was 130 in October. 6% down. Again today. GameStop down 4, SMH down 3, OSS, I need that below 9 to get a bit more excited, but that's holding on to 9. Opendoor got a pump from that Trump home thing. I bought more Zeta last week, yeah, at like 19.30 or something. I don't know. This is weird. It's a little weird. Tessie, 425. 425 Tesla getting a low. Yeah, Galaxy, they also had did they have a good earnings or a bad? I saw the stock get hit 12%. Dude, I know a couple of smart people, in my opinion, that really like this stock. Like, they are fans of this name. Let me see the earnings. They missed revenue by 15%. I guess that was enough to hurt Galaxy. 23.34. I do not know enough about that. Like Nebius is one of the only names of the day, so I think I actually know a little bit about. I wrote a deep dive on them 3 months ago. Even I don't really understand that much about it. But Galaxy, Applied Digital, they're all in the space. Galaxy getting hit. Looks like on that revenue miss. Robinhood still down 1.3. Oh, I forgot. Google has earnings tomorrow. Oh, shit. Google. Oh, boy. Okay, what do we think? Let's get the pumper dumps out. What do we think? I don't own Google. I had some calls. Sold them too early last year. Never really got deeply into the Google story. Amazon and Meta and Tesla are and obviously Nvidia are my 4 Mag 7s. I mean, I know a lot of people here have a decent chunk of Google, and I don't think it's a sell before earnings by any sense of the imagination. I wonder if it's a buy before the earnings. I wonder if it's a buy. Google pump or dump. What do we think? I think it pumps, bro. Now they got the SpaceX. So Google now basically owns a good chunk of XAI and X because they own, 8% of SpaceX? I mean, Waymo just raised at a big valuation. Search is not dead. Gemini is growing like crazy. Aptronic, not doing any revenue for them, but that continues to be a big part of Google DeepMind and robotics. I mean, I don't know. I think it should not be horrible. Yeah, Anthropic. They still own Anthropic as well. That's an IPO that also the Wall Street Journal said freaking OpenAI is thinking of a end of year IPO. So if they IPO end of year, Anthropic's an IPO, which is going to be big for Google in a variety of different ways. And we should see some more momentum. By the way, we had this headline yesterday about India and the U.S. trade deal. Let's get an update on that real quick. Didn't really affect the markets too much, but it seems like this is not the worst thing in the world.
Back to this in just a moment. I do want to get to Washington, where we have breaking news from Eamon Javers, who's at the White House. Eamon?
Yeah, Scott, that's right. President Trump posting on social media just a short time ago that he had spoken to Prime Minister Modi of India. He says they came up with a number of agreements in that conversation. The first one is that the president says that India will stop buying Russian oil. That's according to the president's social media post just a short time ago. He's also saying here in this lengthy social media post that he's cut a trade deal with India in which he will bring tariffs down on India from 25 to 18%, and the Indian side will have zero tariffs and trade barriers against the United States for their part. So we'll wait and see if the Indian government confirms the terms of this deal. But according to the president just a few moments ago, the deal involves India stopping purchases of Russian oil, lowering trade barriers to the United States, and the United States in return lowering those tariffs from 25 to 18% on India.
I mean, that should be relatively bullish. Will India actually stop buying Russian oil? Not sure. But that is like a good thing for trade relations. Here was the update for Waymo.
Says it's just closed a new funding round, $16 billion at $126 billion post money, nearly triple the valuation at its last raise. The round was led by 3 new names joining the cap table: Dragoneer, DST Global, and Sequoia. Returning investors Andreessen Horowitz, Bessemer, and Mubadala Capital, the sovereign investment firm based in Abu Dhabi, also invested in a raise that was reportedly 3x oversubscribed. Now, Alphabet, it remains the majority owner as they have in past rounds. Bloomberg had reported that 13 of that $16 billion came from Waymo's parent company. But this deal does meaningfully broaden outside ownership, bringing in late-stage growth funds, crossover investors, and global sovereign capital.
And that's important. I mean, you need other investors that are going to get into this deal for Waymo. But the fact that Google still owns a majority of it, I mean, yeah, like I don't know why Google should, but then again, they took Microsoft down 10%. Also, Google's running into the print. I mean, it's basically at all-time highs at 343. So the gamble on buying it to get it to go to what, 370, 365 feels like the risk reward's a little skewed on the risk side, unless Google just absolutely destroys it, which maybe they do. Maybe they do. If Tesla merges with SpaceX, Google will get a large percentage of it. So do you think Google will sell? I don't think Tesla's merging with SpaceX anytime soon. I really don't think. I think SpaceX will have their own IPO. But yeah, I think when SpaceX goes public, Google will have to hold for 6 months. There'll be a 6-month lockup. And then Google will have the opportunity to sell. And I think they're probably going to take some chips off the table. I don't think they're going to sell their whole position. But it would make sense for them probably to de-risk a little bit. I just don't think the Tesla SpaceX thing is happening this year. And maybe I'm wrong, but given the conversations of the bankers and how they're trying to take SpaceX public, like I don't know. I think that would take some time. If it does happen, Tesla's going to $1,000, but I don't know if you buy Tesla just based off that speculation for this year. SoFi under 22. Are we actually? Wow. What a crappy way to open the year for some of our favorite names from last year. I mean, my goodness. And at the same time, you can't blame the S&P. The S&P is down 0.5% today, but it's basically been flat this year. But maybe that's the issue, right? The fact that it's been flat and it hasn't made a move is also why the broader market, large cap tech names haven't made a move either. Look at Rivian. Where is Rivian today? That's up 2%. Rivian was at 23 towards the end of the year. Commerce Minister of India said the deal is not signed yet. Okay. I mean, until that deal gets signed, it's hard to make the easy argument that India is going to stop buying Russian oil. Copper, at least, COPEX 89.58. That's okay today. Silver is okay. That's up 10%. And then gold is also up 5%. So gold, silver, copper, the commodities are holding on today. Still super volatile, but they've held some of their momentum. Software names down, large cap tech down. Microsoft, it hit 411, guys. It hit 411. I mean, again, this is just ugly. This is just ugly. Silver's still up 10 right there. Yeah, look, I think the other thing about, wow, Broadcom's down 5%. Oh my goodness. Okay, yeah, it's a semi sell-off today. Wow, 315. Huh. Okay, that's getting hit. Kremlin says we have heard no statements from India about it halting oil purchases from Russia. We've only seen public statements. Okay, so basically Putin letting Trump know your deal is full of shit, bro. It's like your deal is not even close to being real. That's what the Kremlin's saying right now. Uber re-enters China? What? Launching ride-hailing in China, adding limo service to Hong Kong. Bro, Uber should be up on that. China's a big market. Wow. You would think that would be a little exciting for Uber. First Asian market entry since the Southeast Asian exit where they ended up conceding to Grab back in 2018. That was weird. And the street doesn't care. No, that doesn't hurt Grab. Grab doesn't operate in China. Grab was never going to go to Grab. But I don't like that Uber is going to China. I think it's good for the stock but like China's competitive, dude. And I would hate if Grab tried to go into China. Like they do not have the resources to compete there. So I don't know. Again, Uber tried to compete in Southeast Asia for a long time. They just couldn't make it work. And again, they have exposure by owning 30% of Grab. So that's how they get access to the Southeast Asian market. I think it's good for the stock. I don't know if it's going to result in massive, massive EPS growth. But like the headline alone should be good. It's like, okay, you're expanding to a new place. Like that theoretically, you would think traders would be like, oh, that's bullish. If there's any level of growth, that's more than what we expected. Now, if the expenses to be in China are higher than before, then maybe that's not the best. SanDisk going green again. Yeah, they lost to Didi. Didi is the name of the big ride-hailing one in China. That's why I'm surprised they're going back in there. SoFi 2213, Tesla 425, S&P 692, Palantir 155. Yes, you're right. Uber is entering only Macau, not all of China. Am I saying that wrong? Macau, M-A-C-A-U. Please don't tell me I'm saying that wrong. Please don't tell me I'm saying that wrong. Macau. That's how you say it, right?
Macau.
Dude. I didn't know where Tibet was, okay? But I can say some of these Chinese states, provinces, what do you call these? Just, I don't know, parts of China. Macau. Not too bad, dude. Not too bad. I'm actually proud of myself for that. I'm proud of myself for that. You mispronounced Tibet? No, I didn't, bro. That's how you say it. There's no way I mispronounced Tibet. It's freaking Tibet. How do you mispronounce T-I-B-E-T? It's Tibet. There's no way in hell I mispronounced that shit.
Tibet.
Yeah, it's the same. Tibet. I wasn't saying Tibet or anything. I did not say Tibet, bro. Get out of here. I said Tibet.
Tibet.
Roll back the clip, bro. I did not say Tibet. That'd be crazy, bro. Dude, everyone's saying I said Tibet. Or someone show me the clip. There's no way I said Tibet. I said Tibet. If I did, I would be legit trolling. I'd be actually trying to troll at that point if I said that. Google 344. That's green. Dude, someone show me the clip if you really think I promise I did not say that. Someone tag me on X. I did not freaking say Tibet. I said Tibet. No, I'm not trolling. You guys are trolling. I did not say Tibet. I said Tibet. This guy's dementia. Oh my goodness. All right, someone send me the clip. Can Micron help my dementia, bro? Micron trying to go green, 427. That's trying to get higher. Where is Tessie? Tessie 420. Okay, so Tesla getting a little green. Again, we're not getting any macro news today because of the shutdown. Robinhood's still at 88. Oh my gosh, bro. You guys are sending videos. Please don't tell me I freaking said Tibet. Please don't tell me that shit. Tanner, why are you doing this to me? Oh my gosh, bro. Okay, I'm going to click on this clip. Dude, I did not say Tibet. I said Tibet. How do you guys find it so quickly, bro? I thought it didn't take any time to rewind this shit. Oh my gosh. How you say it, right?
Macau.
Dude. I didn't know where Tibet was. Okay. But that one, that doesn't fully count. In the beginning of the stream, when I said where I got the cowbell from, I'm pretty sure I said Tibet. So, okay, maybe you guys were right on that one. But that's why, go back to the market open right before I said the bell. Fuck, I'm just going to do it myself, dude. Fuck this shit. Just going to do it myself at this point. I'm pretty sure I said Tibet correctly. I'm pretty sure I said it correctly. Where is this freaking market open? Okay. Okay, here we go. We're looking for a Thai bet versus a Tibet. Cindy, I know you're watching. She got me a cowbell from China. From China. I mean, I got emotional when she gave me this gift. So, Cindy, thank you for coming to the meetup. Deeply, deeply appreciate you. It was worse. I said China, and that's even more controversial. I don't even think I said it in that one, did I? You and yeah, I didn't. Okay, but I said it quickly afterwards, because then I said I thought it was in Thailand. Okay, if someone finds the part where the first time I said it, then let me know, and let's see if I said Tibet or Tibet. That was a hell of a good save, dude. I said China. I avoided, even though that's controversial, apparently. But then after the market opened, I said, I explained like that I thought it was from Thailand, and then she told me it wasn't. It was from Tibet. So if someone finds that clip, let me know if I said Tibet there or Tibet. Because I think I said Tibet. But whatever. The point is, Uber's going back to China. S&P 692 trying to rebound. At least you said China correctly. Exactly. China. At least I can say that one correctly. Path, do you like this one? This one's been obliterated as well because of Claude. I mean, Claude has just been destroying a lot of these SaaS names. That one's down 4%. SoFi still 22.17. Shopify, wow, 7% down, 123. And then Microsoft 4.13. Oh my gosh, bro. Are we buying Microsoft? Are we buying Broadcom? Shit, are we buying Nvidia here? Like, I feel like a lot of stuff is on sale, and I wouldn't mind nibbling at all three, to be honest. I really wouldn't. I mean, I don't think there's a world in which Nvidia gets to 250 and Broadcom is stuck at. But the problem with Broadcom is they have that stench of OpenAI, which is not the best thing for them. And they already said OpenAI is not going to give them money, at least in 2026. So, I mean, you have a variety of things here that's just not necessarily been the best. Rocket Lab 79. Rocket Lab, again, space is sexy. And it is continuing to hold on. 318. Dude, I'm not buying Google before earnings. Like, I really hope it goes up, but I'm not taking that risk. I mean, I think it'll do well, and there's no reason for it to go down, but it's at all-time highs. Like, this one's a little tougher. Nvidia's not. Microsoft is not. Broadcom's not. Like, maybe the risk-reward is better. Then again, if PayPal shows us anything, I'm not saying Microsoft is PayPal or anything, but like sometimes the big get bigger, and Google might just get bigger tomorrow. To be honest, if Google surpasses Nvidia tomorrow, which is not that, if Google gets a 10% move, Nvidia gets another 5% down, I mean, it gets really close to seeing that happen. But we're obviously seeing some pain right here. You don't own Google? No. Again, I bought, Nvidia was my heaviest buy last year. All the way from 90, 87, 88 was my lowest buy. And then I think my highest buy was probably like 150, but I built out a very, very low. I picked Nvidia over Google. I picked Nvidia over every Mac 7 last year. Like, it was the one where I allocated the most resources to. And that was kind of risky, to be honest, because like Nvidia at the end, it's not as stable and safe as Google theoretically. But I went with Nvidia. That one worked. And then you just didn't have the time to really develop a big position in Google. And then I picked Amazon when it was at 212, 220 in September of last year. Then Meta I picked up at 630, not in this recent dip, but in the dip before the November dip. And then I have some Tesla, but I had some Google calls, sold the Google calls. Google just never ended up being like a really big part of the portfolio. And the question is, should it be now? And it's like, yeah, obviously it should, but it's also like, dude, it's at all-time highs. Like, it's just, I mean, Microsoft's forward PE is below 21. I mean, what are we talking about here, dude? This is like, let me get the exact number. This is, and it's not like they're not growing. It's not like they're Apple, that they're not putting up growth. So it's really quite remarkable to see this right now. Dude, it is 18. Like, or sorry, I'm looking at the EPS estimate. 22. Trying to get 22 times. Like, and if you look at a couple different analysts, it's 20 times. So, I mean, like, this is just not expensive. Trying to get 20 times 2027 earnings is not expensive. Especially if OpenAI does go public and Microsoft gets a $200 billion equity stake. Now, if OpenAI collapses, that'll be ugly. But it's also, Microsoft's not going to lose a lot of money. They're not like SoftBank dumping $50 billion. They put in $15 billion over the course of the investment cycle. They'll probably make that back, if not make 10 times that. What's Meta's new earnings multiple? So Microsoft's at, let's call it 22.3. Meta on a forward basis is at, wow. Meta's actually cheaper than Microsoft at 19. Because Meta is, guiding for 30% growth. Google's forward is 30, which they deserve it, but that's expensive. Not expensive, I should say, but it's just relative to the other ones, it's expensive. Nvidia's at 24. Again, Google more expensive than Nvidia is kind of crazy. But that's why it's a little scary, I think, buying at all-time highs, even though it probably goes higher. And then what's the other one? Apple is at 30 as well. And Apple's not growing at all like Google's growing. Amazon, that's a good one. Where is Amazon's? I think Amazon's like 30 as well. Amazon is at, 30.9. I mean, all the Max 7 should be fine. It's just Google's got to once again deliver those. We're not going to look at Tesla. We don't need to. We don't need to look at Tesla. Chris says Elon's going to buy PayPal. Did he say that? Chris said Elon's going to buy PayPal. That's a hell of an argument. Elon did originally co-found PayPal. The company is very profitable, generates cash flow, needs a workover, but could be one of the greatest comeback stories for a founder to come back. I don't think so. My gut reaction is I don't think it'll happen because Elon wants to make X the financial super app of the world, right? So why would he spend any money on PayPal if X has all the users, the distribution? I mean, PayPal does have something valuable they could offer. I don't think the company would sell to Elon, though. Not at this price. Not a crazy idea. I just don't think it would happen. Davis says, are we still live? Yes, Davis. It's what I do. I go live, okay? You guys know Davis. I hate to be the one to say it, Davis, but you leave me no choice. Davis left me a handwritten note on my bed because I was streaming Palantir earnings while he had to leave for the airport. And I come back to my room after a long day, ready to go to sleep. And I sit down and I'm like, what is behind me? It's a handwritten note with a heart on it. And all I want to say, okay? All I want to say to Davis is,
why are you gay?
Who says I'm gay?
You are gay. You are a transgender.
What shows that I'm gay?
You are a trans.
That's all I want to say. Okay. It was a nice note, though. It was a nice note. It was a cute little note. But that's all I want to say. Show us the note. No, dude. It was being too lovey-dovey in that note. It was ridiculous. Davis will be at the LA meetup, though. So March 28th, we'll have the tickets ready to go on sale for that soon. And He lives in Vegas, so it'll be easy for him to come through. It'll be a fun meetup. Do I talk about the meetup now? Are we done crying about the market? Do I just recap how the meetup went now? Silver and gold still up. Tesla 425. Broadcom down 4. Google flat. Moody's and S&P Global being down is just stupid. But what, like, this is a weird day. ASTS up 8%. Again, I think that's SpaceX pumping the entire space names. Rare earths getting pumped by this new rare. Dude, we got a strategic rare earth metals reserve before we got a strategic Bitcoin reserve. Like, talk about rug pulled on this crypto administration. I mean, David Sachs sucks as the crypto. I mean, I'm sorry, but he's done great for AI. And it's not just because Bitcoin's down, but like, what has he done for crypto? Like the one thing people wanted, which was a crypto reserve. I mean, we didn't even get that. So I don't know. Now, again, Trump, he reaffirmed his support for crypto yesterday and said he's the best crypto president.
Other than, I'm a big crypto person. I'm the one that probably helped crypto more than anybody because I believe in it. And the reason I believe in it is because if we don't do it, Scott, I think we can say then China's going to do it. Other than.
It's been a year and a half. Where is the Bitcoin reserve? Like, I don't know. Now, hopefully the Clarity Act will be good and there'll be some good legislation, but I don't know. Crypto's been hit. Large cap's been hit. Growth stocks from last year, SoFi Hood, Robinhood hit. Rare earths go up and down every other day. Gold and silver trading like meme stocks. It's a very complicated and nuanced market that we're in right now. And it's just not as easy as it was last year. I mean, that's the hard truth. It's not, unless you're hyper allocated to memory or certain parts of space or certain energy names or certain high beta, which have all taken a beating. I mean, quantum's taking a little bit of a beating. Nuclear's taking a little. I mean, Oklo was at 100 last week. Now it's at 78. It's up 7% today. But 100 to 78 is not fun, right? Rocket Lab 99 to 78 is not fun. And then you think, oh, well, the value's in PayPal. That's where my deep value is. And then PayPal goes down 18%. I mean, it's just, it's a different market that we're having right now. Nonetheless, I still think the earnings growth and broader Fed easing cycle are going to keep us afloat. Fears at 46, actually. Are we at 46? Okay, well, that's lower than freaking 63 from a couple of days ago. SanDisk, is that recovering? Yeah, the traders are all in this one, dude. They're all in this one. SanDisk, yep, up 2% today. And now it was at 725. We're at neutral. We're not at fear yet, though. This is actually good to see because last week we had pain, but we were still in greed. If we can get to fear, we'll probably get some prices that are even more attractive than this right now. But we have to see if we get there. We hit fear today. We were at fear this morning. Oh, well, I mean, look at that. We just went from 46 to 45. We're pretty damn close, too. We're pretty freaking close. Where's Microsoft? Are we still down? 413. All right, I'm doing a little bit of buying. I'm doing a little bit of shopping. Let's do some stuff. So, Nvidia, we're going 50 on Nvidia. Okay, below 180. So we're doing 179.88 on Nvidia. We're doing it on Microsoft. Guess invest and investigate after being down 15%. We'll do 25 shares on Microsoft. We'll put 10 grand, Microsoft. We're in. We're in Microsoft. These are long-term holds. These aren't trades. The goal is to create starter position. Well, Nvidia was more of a dip ad for my position, but Microsoft we're in. Now, Broadcom, I really want to, but I don't know anything about Broadcom. I have some friends, though, who work at Broadcom, and they swear by Broadcom. They're like, bro, Broadcom is going up. Like, I have a really good friend who's at Broadcom, and he's just like, dude, like, we're crushing it. And obviously, the results have crushed it. I don't know about Broadcom, though. Then we're going to do Hood. We're going to do Hood. We're going to do 50 shares of Hood. We're going to at least add a little bit to Hood. 88. We got to dip our toes. We'll do Hood. All right. Hood, Microsoft, Nvidia. I really want to do Broadcom, but I just feel like I should know a little bit more about the company. Microsoft, I feel like I don't have to know every detail because it's freaking Microsoft. Broadcom, I feel like I'm overthinking Broadcom, but I will wait on that. I'll wait on that. I have enough grab. I don't need more grab. I have enough BMNR. I don't need that shit. Especially if ETH is going lower. I did Zeta last week, dude, so I'm not buying more Zeta here. I also think Zeta needs an earnings. I really do think Zeta after earnings is going to be okay. They've got to put up some big software growth numbers, but again, this doesn't deserve to be here. I bought SoFi last week. I have enough SoFi. At this point, I'm going to wait for SoFi. But that's what you know what I want to do, dude? I want to take a ton of money and just spray it across Bloom Energy and T1 and Iren and Netflix and Planet Labs and Rocket Lab and ASTS and Micron and I just want to take some money and pick like 20 stocks and just throw a ton. And I want like just for the hell of it. And then I want to see if those 20 stocks collectively, all your 20 high beta, thematic, Ondas, all that drone shit, I want to see if that outperforms everything else this year. Because that's what it feels like is going to happen. And I'm probably being a little too emotional right now, but that's what it feels. That's what feels like is happening. We do have to remember we got a long year. We got a long year. So also, you know, I'm not the biggest on buying this dip right now. I know I nibbled a little bit right here, but I mean, we're not seeing a reversal on any of these names. We're not seeing volume support to reversal. The S&P hasn't reversed for the day. That's still down. SoFi below 22. So I fully expect my Microsoft buys to probably be underwater. And same thing with Hood and Nvidia. But I feel like we can at least dip our toes a little bit. PayPal, not really touching it. Although the pain has stopped. 20% down is enough, it looks like. But we'll see if that goes that even further. All right. We talk about the meetup. It's 11 a.m. anyway. So I think we'll end out with a meetup recap and AMD. AMD will be the next one today, along with what's the other one? Technical Tuesday. We'll have a bunch of other companies. And then we will keep going from there. Dude, Bloom, I'm still looking into. I agree with you guys. I like the name. I have just, dude, between the meetups and everything that's happened over the past, I just have not had the time to sit and read and just do some due diligence. So I need to like, this week I'm actually trying to like get back to a routine, get back to my Substack. Like, so hopefully I'll have some more details on all this stuff by the end of the week. And yeah, I'm going to try a T1. That's also on the list. We'll be looking at that. And then memory. This weekend, I want to spend some more time looking at memory and seeing what exactly is going on in this ecosystem. The rare earth names also I will look into, but again, I think the rare earth names are just, they're just working on headlines at this point. Doesn't mean they can't go higher, but I think a lot of them are still moving more on headlines. All right, cool. So the meetup. First of all, I just want to say thank you to everyone who showed up there. Put in the chat if you were at the meetup. We had about 350 people show up. I will post all the pictures on a public link on Google Drive so everyone can see them. But I'll show you guys one meetup on one picture on my phone. Doesn't have everyone who was there, but was pretty cool, dude. It was pretty cool. Andy, Bsov, Tess, had a bunch of mods that were there. Shem Pasta. I finally got to meet Shem Pasta. He was like, "Hi, I'm Shem Pasta." I was like, "You're Shem Pasta." He's been in the chat for 4 years. I've never seen Shem Pasta. Amit, who also has my name and has Chris's last name, which freaked out a lot of people. Amit Patel. He was there. That was awesome. Ray, obviously, you guys saw him on the stream over the past couple of days. Luna, so great to see you there. Clarence was there. Tyler, Austin, so many of you guys were there. It was really, really awesome. And Davis says, "I wish I wasn't there." I have never seen Davis get as drunk as I saw on them. Like, he's not someone gave him like 7 Long Island iced teas. I think it was Tess, and like 4 glasses of champagne. He turned into a different person. Like, I got back from doing all my stuff and I finally get to like see the meetup space. I'll explain kind of how the format of it was. And I see him and he's like talking to a girl. I'm like, Davis talking to a girl? What? He's like in a deep conversation. I was like, Davis doesn't just go up to girls and talk. I was like, wow, dude. Wow. It was kind of incredible. So, hopefully the meetup is responsible for people finding their soulmates, but I was proud of Davis. Vlad is on the Full Send podcast right now, live. Wow. Okay, Nelk boys. Talk about getting different audience distribution. We'll get some good clips of that on the close, and we'll see what Vlad had to say. All right, so the meetup itself. So the structure of the meetup, we wanted to change it from the previous meetups. The previous meetups were you jealous? I actually was a little bit jealous. I'm not gonna lie. The previous meetups were me running around talking to everybody, and it was exhausting. It made no sense. It was just me because I didn't expect so many people. So the New York meetup, when there was 40 of us last year, it was normal. Boston, there was like 70, it was normal. Bay Area, there was like 120, but it was still manageable. At Miami, there was, I think, like 275, and it became unreasonable to try to go and talk to every single person. So Jess and Angelo, big shout out to them. Jess absolutely crushed it. This was her first big thing for the AK Media brand this year, and she absolutely just smashed it. First of all, before I get into it, 0 logistical challenges, 0 security issues. We had some really good security. I had these like ex-Chicago guys who like were security for Diana Ross back in the 90s, like some legit security, which there's a fun story about that Davis is not going to like, but we'll talk about it. And 0 hiccups. So I was not nervous at all about the meetup. I was not nervous or anxious about talking to people. I mean, like, that's kind of what I do, right? So like, this is literally 0 anxiety going into this at all. I was more nervous for pound earnings yesterday than I was for the meetup, right? Like I don't get, after doing this 5 times by myself, I don't get nervous for this. My only anxiety was like, logistically, will everything play out the way that it needed to play out? And I mean, it did. We really didn't have any hiccups, and hopefully in the future we continue to just make it better and reiterate. But the goal was, how can Amit talk to everyone there without literally trying to talk to everyone there? And the idea that Jess came up with was, what if we put you in a section outside of the main section, and you'll have 15 people sit at a table for 10 minutes, and every 10 minutes you get a new table. It ended up being like every 15, 20 minutes we got a new table. But I went through 18 different tables. And I think I pretty much got to talk or take a picture with everybody. Now, there's probably some people that I didn't get to, maybe because they came late or they missed their number. You had a number on a ticket if you came into the meetup, and then you got access to the table. But I think it was very effective for the majority of the event. I basically didn't see everyone until 5:30. Now, we did a speech 2 times in the middle of the meetup. So after like an hour and a half, and then after another hour and a half, I went in and I talked to everybody, and that was fun. And Steve took the mic, and Chris took the mic, and Tanner took the mic, and it was really cool, and it was fun. But outside of those moments, which were maybe like 5-10 minutes, I didn't actually get to see the meetup. And so at 5:30, once I was done with the group sessions, I got to go inside and see the meetup. And I mean, it was pretty cool. For those that don't follow me on Instagram, I had the story and everything on Instagram. By the way, I wasn't kidding, dude. He got a little drunk. I've never seen this man drink as much as he drank, but he got a little drunk. But this was and this was super humbling seeing this as well. Oh, I gotta show you the Steve video. I gotta upload these on the drive so you guys can see it. But there was I don't have this here. There was a line outside of the meetup for the first 10 minutes, and it was yeah, here it is. I mean, it was just crazy seeing this, dude. So this was the location, and I mean, again, this was insane for me. I saw this after the event. This was just insane for me to witness the people that took the time out of their day to get into this event. A lot of people ended up coming 10 minutes early, and everyone was still setting up, getting the drinks ready and all that stuff. So this was the line going into it. And then the doors opened at 12. And I mean, it was just, I could not believe it. I could not believe it. Now, LA, it'll be warmer, so it'll be a little nicer. But this will take you into the meetup right here. Shout out to Ray for recording this. He also handed out a bunch of Milk Gang stickers, which was awesome as well. And then this was the meetup. So this was the venue. There was Irwin right there. And then within 20 minutes, this is when it just got kind of crazy. So I think it was cool, dude. I think it was cool. And it was really special to see that many people come in. And I think the reason the line took long as well is because we were trying to give everyone a ticket and make sure their name was on the list. And this stuff is inevitable, right? Because we took security really seriously. So if your name was not on the list, if you weren't registered, like, you just weren't going to get in, right? Because I don't want to take any chances with that, because safety first and foremost is the most important thing. So I think that's why the line took just a little long in the beginning to get people situated, get their table number in. But by 12:30, everyone was in, and it was incredible, and it was really fun. So that's how the meetup started. And then by 12:20, I was out there taking, everyone got a mini bell as soon as they walked in as well. So hopefully you guys get to ring the bell with me at 9:30 every day. By 12:20, I started the actual the conversations, and it was really fun. I mean, some of the stories I heard were incredibly special, incredibly humbling. When you get to see people face to face and have them basically explain why they care about you is really important. I think the biggest thing that the biggest takeaway I got was people are using the stream as a source of news, obviously a source of entertainment, but also a source of like their routine to be able to keep up with what's happening in the markets, whether they agree or disagree with the analysis, the takes, the perspectives, or whatever. The important thing is they trust that it's going to be there every day. That's the first and most important thing, which is why a lot of you said when you take days off, it messes up your day, which I take that very seriously, because I don't want to mess up 4 or 5 hours of the day if that's what you're relying on. And then number two is like, this is where they go to figure out what's happening in the world. A lot of people are busy, they're working, they have me in their AirPods, and they can't keep up with everything. They're not scrolling X like me all day. And the stream and the ability to amalgamate and put all these perspectives together, which is another good takeaway I got from a lot of people. You guys are really happy that we talk about everything. Like, yes, we have some favorite stocks and stuff, but we really talk about everything and try to dissect it. And Cactus Jack, shout out to him. He's been doing a phenomenal job as being my basically personal Bloomberg terminal with keeping me up to date on literally everything that happens. And like Colombia's president arriving at the White House today for a Trump meeting, that's happening. But like all that stuff together and putting it together is really what I think people value from it. And so, yeah, that's one of the biggest takeaways I got. In terms of the actual event itself, so I will show some of these gifts later on a different stream. But there's two that I still haven't opened a lot of them, but there's two that I opened that I want to show. This one, again, from Cindy. This cowbell was so special, and she also wrote me a note. And Cindy is 28 years old. She has a PhD in biochemistry. Cindy, if you're in the chat, let me know. I think you are, because she does not miss a single day, a minute of streams. She also made me this. So she put me in High School Musical with Vanessa Hudgens. That's me from high school. So it's like, she used ChatGPT for this. Yes, the bell from Tibet. Dude, Cindy made me a bit emotional, because I just like to have someone who's that dedicated, who cares that much. She's also, she has a little bit of social anxiety. She doesn't go to these meetups or public events or stuff like that. So she flew out all the way from Minnesota just to attend this. And yeah, it was really humbling. Like, I was asked, so I was asking her because she's like, she doesn't miss a single minute of the stream. She's just constantly there, like no matter what. And so I asked her, I was like, do you remember when I made this joke 3 months ago and I restated the joke? And she's like, yeah, that was great. And I was like, how do you remember like this like minute detail of a stream from months ago of a joke that only I would remember because I made it? And she's laughing at it again when she's hearing it. I'm like, wow, you really do watch every stream. Like you're there every day. And she's like, yeah, family's over and it's ready for the market close. I have to like leave my family and go watch the market close. Like that to me is just, it's very, very humbling to get that type of feedback from people. And no, it means a lot, dude. It's quite emotional for people to care that much. There she is. There she is in the chat. So glad I came. Thank you, Cindy, for being there. It was it really, 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 really was special. I mean, to have someone care that much about your content and just like the extent that, like, I was like, when did you buy the ticket? She was like, oh, the first day you announced it. This girl has never traveled alone in her life. And the first day, the stream I did with Jess, when I said, here's the link to the New York meetup, and she bought the ticket that day. I mean, again, it means a lot. It really means a lot. So Cindy, thank you for this. I think we'll be ringing this every day. I think people like this. It's a new one. So very, very, very grateful for you being there. And many of you guys had a similar story of just like really keeping up with the meetup. And then I wanted to show this because this one I opened. Devi, I don't know if you're watching right now. Brian and Devi, this couple, she's a dentist. Okay. So I got a bunch of dental stuff, which is crazy. But then this gift, this was the gift where I was like, this is crazy. Remember when freaking, what's his name? Brad Gerstner said that Sam Altman was cajoling the market, right? Remember that was a big thing. That was on Friday or Thursday. And then I was like, oh yeah, cajoling. That's a hell of a word. And I was like, Kajol, that's my favorite Indian actress. I think she's one of the most beautiful Indian actresses in one of my favorite movies. This is what they give me. Very cajoling or cajoling. Like, this is crazy, bro. We made this inside joke on Thursday. And on Saturday, they come up with this gift. Like, this is like when you see the extent that people go to give you something special. This is, I don't know if I'm gonna put this in the background or if I'm just gonna put this in my house, but this is absolutely gonna be part of the house. I mean, this is just unbelievably thoughtful, to say the least. So Devi, if you're watching, and Brian, thank you guys. That really meant a lot. And just the idea of doing something like that is crazy. Absolutely crazy. So yeah, I mean, we got more gifts and I'll open those up and I'll show those on stream as well. But again, I really, really just appreciate everyone who took the time to be there and to be part of this community. I mean, I think a lot of people also had fun at the meetup, and part of the reason I think people had fun was because people enjoyed being part of the process and getting to meet other people. Again, there were some people that traveled across the entire country, across the entire world. And for that many people to actually care about being there, you know, I thought it was special. I thought it was really, really special. By the way, I think you guys were chatting so much that the chat is now frozen. Is that the first time we've had the chat freeze? Stream's definitely still going. The chat is... Do you guys see the... Oh, there it is. It just came back. Okay. Damn. I never had the chat freeze, but... Okay, there it is. It's back. Yeah, we got it. Yeah, your chat froze as well. It's frozen. There it goes. All right, we're back. Yeah, dude, it was special. It was really special. And then all the mods, I'm so happy that they came out. I mean, Doug, Erwin, Nate, Ray, Michelle. Like, Michelle and Ray, while I was doing my Palantir stream, obviously we kind of made the apartment a mess. Like, they started cleaning the apartment. And I came out of the Palantir stream while the guy was talking before Carp came on. And I looked, I was like, this apartment is clean. What's going on? And then Davis felt bad because Davis's lazy ass wasn't doing anything while Michelle and Ray were cleaning. And then Davis was like, okay, I guess I have to clean too. And so then Davis started cleaning. So, I mean, they cleaned my freaking apartment, dude. Like, I just like, these guys are just so awesome and cool and special. And I'm just so happy they came to the meetup. Yeah, Davis did for like 3 minutes. And then we had this picture. Shout out to Will. This was after the meetup at the dinner. He painted the Steve picture holding the cow. He painted it, literally painted it. And so Matt Money, Steve, Tanner, they all had a blast, and it was super fun. And then he painted this for me. He literally painted it. I mean, this is just crazy, bro. Absolutely crazy. And again, this is why we do this, right? This is why this whole journey has never been about money, even though the channel is about the stock market. This whole journey is about building a community. And, you know, you're going to get people that are in this community that just want to be a part of it. And you know, they're going to show off their talents. I mean, he was so stoked to paint this, and I'm so stoked to have a freaking Pablo Picasso-esque painting in my house. Like, I don't know, Will, he might become the next biggest painter. And if one of his first big paintings is me and Carp, like, and that's ingrown through the community, you know, that's really cool. That's really, really special. So here are a bunch of the mods at my apartment. It was just special, man. It was really special. I really enjoyed it. This was Erwin sleeping on my couch, seeing Rocket Lab go down 5%. He bought the dip, though. He bought the dip, but that was all of us yesterday morning. It was ugly. Yeah. It was a great event. It was a great event. I really did enjoy it. Now, the funniest part of this was I had security at this event, like legit security. And, you know, at some point I needed to pee. And the security, you know, made sure that I could go use the bathroom. Dude, why is the chat still freezing? It must be freezing for you guys as well. That's so weird today. This is bearish Google, dude. Bearish freaking Google at this point. Like, yeah, it's frozen. It's probably frozen for everybody else as well. Yeah, Cactus just told me it's frozen. Google, it's kind of the point of the stream is the chat. We need you to... Don't blame my Wi-Fi on this one. Do not blame my Wi-Fi. Anything to be bearish Google. Okay, we're back. Is this Cloudflare, bro? Like, what the hell? That's weird. It's not my Wi-Fi. There's no way it could be my Wi-Fi across the entire world. Anyway, I had to pee, right? So the security guard's taking me to the bathroom, and Davis and Nate, my boys, I'm in the group chat with them for 4 years, right? They're also going to the bathroom. The security guard puts his arm in front of Davis and Nate and says, "Sorry, Amit has to pee." That shit was the most epic shit of my life. To make your own security guard stop your boys from going into the bathroom because you had to take a piss. I mean, honestly, it was like a bucket list type of moment. Like, it literally was one of the best things on the planet. And when we came back, we were reminiscing about it. And obviously, Davis and Nate were pissed off. They're like, "Bro, we know that guy. Like, he's not special. We know." Security guard said, "No, he's got to pee. He's got to pee." So, you know, that was, honestly, I think that was the highlight of the event. That was like the best thing. What if Davis had to pee? He probably did have to pee. Guess what? Had to wait, buddy, because I have security. If you tried to fuck with me, that security's fucking you up. Okay, so you better hold in that bladder. So honestly, like, I think that was really the highlight of the entire event. And that was very special to me, especially because it was Nate and Davis. If it was one of you guys, I would have been like, you know, like, they can use the bathroom first. The fact that it was Nate and Davis, I walked into that bathroom with the most confidence I have had in my entire life, bro. If it was one of you guys, I would have felt really bad. I'd be like, no, but if it was Nate and Davis being held back from relieving their bladder for me to relieve mine, honestly, one of the greatest things that have happened in 2026. Really one of the greatest things that has happened in 2026. So that was fun, but in all seriousness, it was a really, I think it was a really community-oriented event, and the only reason is because we had so many people from the community come through. And so we're going to try to keep this going, right? Erwin will be in LA. I think Ray and Michelle will be in LA. Davis will probably be in LA. And then Amit sat down to pee. Oh my God. But I think we're going to try to keep getting the mods to come out. Steve's probably not going to go to LA because Steve doesn't like traveling. But let me show you guys a couple videos. I'll put this near the mic. Hopefully you can hear it. Actually, let me change the mic to the MacBook, and then you should be able to hear it. Okay, this was Steve at the beginning of the meetup. Let me know if you guys can't hear this. So this guy brings milk and yogurt to the meetup.
Wait, get to the hat. Inside the hat.
This is pretty elite, Steve.
We got chocolate milk in here too, man. We got chocolate milk. We got chocolate milk.
Pretty elite. This is pretty great. So this guy. So, you know, Steve brought the milk. He wasn't messing around. And I don't know how many drinks Davis was in at this point, but somehow Davis took the mic. And, you know, he also had some words to say to everybody.
Community of individuals that have similar interests that can go through struggles and fight through those struggles together. And it's just an amazing opportunity to meet everybody. Community of
It's like when your teacher asks if you read the book for the assignment. It's a community of individuals, and we work together to fight through everything. It was great. He looks toasted. Oh, he was toasted. And that was at like 3 p.m. By 6, this guy, like, I didn't recognize him, bro. Like, I really didn't recognize him. I was like, Davis, I've never seen you this messed up. I've never seen you that messed up. So, yeah, man, this was fun. This was really fun. LA will be next. We'll have the details on it soon. You know, it did suck that we went bearish on Friday right before the event. And, you know, what do you do, right? Like Miami, we had JPAL give us a pivot. Everyone was happy because things turned bullish right before New York. You know, unfortunately, we went red, and, you know, we're not really recovering too much on the day. But I think part of doing this for a long enough time is that Robinhood 8760 here. Like, this is what happens, right? Like, you're not always going to have a bull market. And I think part of the reason we're all together in this community is because we have to deal with navigating the market dynamics, even if we don't have a bull market. And right now, some of our favorite stocks are not in a bull market. And I don't think that took away from any of the excitement of people being at the meetup. I think a lot of people were still just excited to be there. You know, and quite frankly, the conversations I had nothing to do with Nvidia being down 10% this year. A lot of it had to do with just like why people care about being part of the stream, whether or not Nvidia is up or down, right? And that was really important. I asked people how many people like the bell. I got some mixed responses. I definitely heard a bunch of people saying they mute when the bell goes on. A lot of people saying they mute, but it's still a staple of the show, so we should do it. I think the compromise is I will just make the bell a lot shorter. Okay, I'll do it for like 5 seconds instead of 15. I think that'll be the easiest compromise. And we'll do this new Tibet bell, which will hopefully not be as loud. So that could be a compromise there. But yeah, a lot of people just love being part of something. And, you know, we're humans at the end of the day. We're communal creatures. As much as individual ambition and pursuit of happiness is important, and it's, you know, one of the reasons why the United States has these tech companies in the first place, because we allow individuals to chase their dreams and go on these journeys. Like, not having a community to celebrate that individual experience with is, what's the point, right? Like, it's not fun if Palantir makes you rich if you're not able to celebrate the community that you got rich with. So I think that's why we continue to do it. And that's why it continues to be fun. I love the bell. My wife hates it. I got to meet a lot of your significant others that have to put up with me, but many of them have enjoyed putting up with me over the past couple of years. It's really cool to meet people when they bring their girlfriend or boyfriend. Like, it's just so cool to, you know, it's the fact that your family is actually supporting your interests. Andy brought his wife. Andy's been in the chat for so long. That was great. Andy, I got to pick on Andy with his wife a little bit, but the fact, you know, he talks about the stream all the time, and the fact that, you know, he talks about it with his wife, she's the one who has to deal with hearing all this shit. So the fact that she got to witness all of it, I think was pretty cool. The missus had a great time. It looked like she had a good time. It looked like She enjoyed it. Bsov said, just love being able to talk stocks with so many people at the meetup. Don't have that in my friend group. Bsov, I remember from the first, so many of you were, Nico was here from the first meetup. Bsov was here from the first meetup. Andy, there's a couple others. But I saw Bsov. He's like this tall white guy. I'm like, I know who this guy is. But then I didn't say hi to him because I didn't. And then the second time I was like, bro, I know you. And so it was really cool just to see people from the first meetup and that evolution. We were in a bar in the first meetup, 30 of us. And this time we had an entire venue just for us, you know? So that was really cool. Why is Novo halted? What the hell is going on? 57.85. This one got suspended. Novo's halted right here. Markets are still iffy. Tesla still slightly green. SPY low of day, folks. 690. SPY low of day. Novo sees 2026 sales at constant. Wow. Are you kidding me? -5 to -13% compared to estimates of 1.3% down. Oh, that's not good, bro. Novo sees -13% growth compared to estimates of -1. What the hell happened? At the same time, silver continues to run, up 11%. Bloom's up 7. Where's HIMS? Oh my goodness, HIMS down 4. Fear and Greed's at 43. I don't know enough about Novo. I know it is not a cult stock, but it's definitely a stock that people like. And it has, isn't it up 20% this year? Fear and Greed's officially a fear. Novo year to date, it's up 10%. Well, when it gets unhalted, I wonder if that 10% holds. Lilly getting a dump as well. Yeah, all right. That's your Novo headline. That's a little ugly. Lilly down 2% right there as well. Dude, that's the other thing about this market. That's another reason I think people enjoy the content. It's like there's so much shit happening every day. Like there's so many things from so many different angles. And like you might not be in the healthcare stocks, but like it's not good to see a company like Novo guide for -13% growth. That obviously has implications for the entire healthcare sector, which matters for the S&P. And I think because of how connected of a market it is, every little headline or news moment matters for the broader markets. And that's why people come together in the stream to try to understand what's happening. Would you average down on your BM&R position at these levels? I don't know, dude. The thing about BM&R is I feel like we need a real ETH flush out. Like I feel like it wants to happen, but it's holding up. And if the flush out is going to happen, it's probably 1800, which is actually not that far away. So at this point, like I think the answer is no. I think it was giving us some real signs of life 2 weeks ago when it was pushing 3,000. And now I feel like if it's going to go down, it should go down. So I think at 1800, it becomes the dip. I don't know if this is the dip yet, but it's not an ETH thing or a BM&R thing. It's a crypto thing. And unfortunately, if we're in a crypto winter, which, you know, I think Bitcoin closer to 60 would validate that more than anything. MicroStrategy now is sitting on losses on their $50 billion position of Bitcoin, which who would have thought that they would be negative on it? Maybe hold on and wait. Robinhood below 87. Why not? Why not? 86, 83. Again, the hood thing is even more confusing, but also the way to make it not confusing is to understand that like if the volumes dry up, if we have topped out for volumes for the cycle, then it's taking a beating. Now, granted, I also never thought hood necessarily deserved to go to 150. Was I happy when it was there? Yes, but I was pretty explicit. I'm not buying at these levels because at that point it felt a bit euphoric. I didn't expect to go back down to 87. I thought 100. That's why I sold 100 all calls. I'm like, all right, maybe 100, maybe 90, but at this point it's getting a bit more aggressive. So we're gonna see. Bought the hood dip today a little bit. We'll see if we'll see if it gives us a bigger opportunity. Again, this is a generational company to go long on it, but in the short term, that doesn't mean that long thesis necessarily has to play out. And that's for a lot of names that have been taking a beating. Obviously, all the SaaS names that have got hit as well. Anyway, the meetup, again, I really appreciate everyone who was there. It meant a lot. We will have the LA meetup soon, and we're going to keep it going. I think we're doing Singapore in April as well, trying to get that solidified. A lot of people asked about Singapore, so we should be able to make that happen. And yeah, Tess came all the way from freaking Florida. She was already at another conference for D-Wave, and she came through after that as well. Like, I mean, just she went through a lot of shit to get here, and I was really happy she came. But it was cool. It was really, really, really cool for everyone to be here. Look at Doug. Look at that. I need an outfit like that next time. He also gave me a jacket that I'm going to wear on a green day. It's not a green jacket, but on a green day, I'll wear a jacket. That's the background of my couch, by the way. Got a bunch of different pictures and stuff up there. Also, I mean, I didn't drink a lot this weekend, but we got through a decent chunk of alcohol. I think we finished a couple bottles. I didn't, but other people did. That was Davis. I made him sleep on the mattress in the apartment. Did not sleep with him. I had a different room that I slept in, okay? Ray woke up, started drinking for breakfast. I mean, yeah, Michelle was basically I don't know why people like Jack and Cokes. Jack and Cokes are disgusting, dude. Either the Jack or drink the Coke. Putting it together is just, I don't know. But apparently Michelle likes that. So, yeah, it was fun. It's a good time. Happy people came. And we'll keep it going forward. We will keep it going forward. Snowflake's dumping. Why? SAS is dumping in general. That's what I think Snowflake. Where's Palantir? Are we at least holding 153, 154 in Palantir? Yeah, Snowflake's down because of SAS. Don't think it's justified, but all those are down. Okay, Chicago we're probably going to do in May. May is likely Chicago. So LA, Singapore, Chicago. That is the idea. And then probably Austin after that. LA again, March 28th. The link should be out, honestly, tomorrow. If not by Friday. Definitely by Friday, we'll have the LA link out. And yeah, in terms of the finances, I think I'm losing about $3,000 on this event, which is not too bad. I think the way to compensate for that is we're just going to raise the ticket prices for LA. So instead of 75, it'll be 100. Hopefully that's not too crazy, but we're not making money on this. I mean, there were a lot of expenses. Expenses are not crazy, but like when you have security, venue, Ubers, food, I mean, like it just kind of adds up. So yeah, LA tickets will probably be $100. Again, this really is not to make money. I mean, when you see stuff like this, it's not about the money. This is about really building something special long-term. And, you know, hopefully $100 is not too crazy for the people that want to go out there. And yeah, it'll go all back into making the event as good as we can. Amid, my roommate says your Tom Ford cologne reminds him of a grandma, says Davis. Well, given you used most of my Tom Ford cologne, I guess now you smell like a grandma. But thanks for letting me know, Davis. Appreciate it. Davis says you have to pay me to join you again. Oh my gosh. This guy's a menace. We recorded the Palantir rap, by the way. Davis recorded it. He's been waiting to record this thing for 2 years. So whenever he's ready, we can put it out and people can hear his Palantir rap. VIX is up 7.5. All right, so the VIX is now moving. Chicago, most likely again, end of May. April, Singapore, likely April 5th. Don't hold me to that, but I'll get the date soon. And then LA confirmed March 28th. Culver City, I will have the details hopefully by the end of this week for everybody. All right, if the VIX can give us 15, see, but the problem is the VIX was like 15, 16% last Friday. That's when Microsoft bottomed at 421. Then it jumped to 440. Now Microsoft's at 412. Never mind, 411. We're down $37 on Microsoft. So it's like just pegging it to the VIX is not always the most accurate, especially if these stocks are in just free fall territory. And right now these stocks are in free fall. And it's very confusing, but that's what's happening. PayPal still getting hit. Yes. Again, like, does SoFi deserve to be 21.72 right now? No. I also think PayPal doesn't deserve to be 42 right now, but and then that coincides with Hood, which is in that fintech bucket. Where's Micron? Okay, still down 3% today. SanDisk, it's up 1%, but still down from 725. I mean, the fact that the memory names and Rocket Lab, some of these space names are holding on, goes to show where the market is rotating. Rocket Lab almost at 79, or it goes to show how momentum driven this market is to sell off amazing companies like SoFi to buy into very expensive high beta names. But that's what's happening. That's what, and then Netflix, bro. Are you buying Hood? I bought 50 shares today at 88. I mean, at this point, it looks like a falling knife. So to be honest, I would dip my toes, but I would not actually do a heavy buy because we need to figure out why the hell the street is taking it down at these levels. Netflix, we are not below 80, but if we go below 80, 79, a lot of people have been waiting for the 70s on Netflix. Maybe that ends up happening as well. All right. I think that's it. Again, thank you to everyone who came to the meetup. I will have a public link soon where everyone can see the photos. If you were at the meetup, you'll get an email soon with the link to the photos and everything else. And if you didn't make the meetup, I know there's a couple people that couldn't make it. Please email Jess. We will get you a refund, or we will transfer your ticket to the next meetup. So just email Jess and whatever you want, whether it's a refund or not, let us know. But yeah, it was good. It was really good. It was exciting. It was fun. Logistically, it all worked out. The security stopping two of my best friends from peeing because I had to pee was like literally the highlight of my life. It was very special to be able to do that to my boys, and it made it all worth it. And then this was all of us together on my couch dealing with Hood, Nebius, and Zeta being down 5%. Tiger blanket, baby. We know we have to break out the Indian immigrant tiger blanket. But it was fun. It was very fun. Jess at AK Comms is her email. And again, shout out to Jess, man. She crushed it. She was more nervous than me for the event, like, because she was running all the logistics, right? So if something went wrong, obviously she would know that she was accountable for it. And so it was smooth, dude. From the drivers to the event staffing to the food at the event was pretty good. I thought the food, I didn't eat it. I had like one piece of chicken, but like I think the food was pretty good. When I saw it, I was like, this looks like pretty good food. Like this is like pretty decent food. And there was a good chunk of it. So I think it was awesome. Sid, he was there as well. Sid, thanks for the Uzi. Oh, Uzi, I got to make you a mod. Uzi is now a mod. Uzi, I thought Uzi was a mod already, but Uzi has become a great friend, especially because he's close to me in Jersey City. Uzi, you're now mod. You're good. And it was awesome. Also, yeah, we went to Patsy's on Saturday, and I think everyone who was there, I think they saw it was like top 3 pizza in New York. Like it was really good freaking pizza. This was this was not at Patsy's, but this was the photo of all of us after at a cigar. Oh, I learned how to smoke cigars. I smoked a cigar pretty much like 80% of the way through, my own cigar, at this awesome lounge in New York. I'm definitely going to go back there again. And I mean, it was pretty cool to smoke a cigar, dude. It was like, I just felt pretty freaking cool. Yeah, there's a video of me, or a picture. There's Gene in the background as well. Gene came from Miami. So shout out to Gene making the trip as well. Did you inhale? Okay, I did the first time and it really, your boy was coughing for a bit. Once I realized you don't actually inhale it. Surprise, surprise. Then everything else was pretty good. So UPS outfit. Oh my gosh, yeah. Dude, like I'm at Patsy's. I'm at the back of the table we're at. I'm at the back of the table we're at. Okay, I'm just going to screenshot this. And I'm just like, I'm talking to Steve. I'm eating my food. I'm enjoying myself. Davis is all the way to the other side. Again, we're not beating the allegations with this. It's so bad. And then I get this text. I'm not even going to read it, but I get this text. Everyone can see it. And I start smiling like an idiot. And the whole other half of the freaking table starts laughing because they know what he sent me. And I was like, this guy, bro. This freaking guy. He's not going to help beat the allegations at all. But no, in all seriousness, I know I joke around with Davis, but he's becoming one of my really good friends. And, he's OG Palantir with me. I think he reached out years ago. And I don't know how we even started talking, but we started talking. And Davis, Nate, Bay Ray couldn't make this one, but Nate was there as well. And, as you get older, it's not easy to make friends. So to connect over mutual interests and then come together and just be boys with each other, regardless of the stock market, even though that's what introduced us to each other, that's what made it really fun. And no wonder security stopped him. Exactly. Security was protecting me. Did the cheerleader make it? No. The cheerleader from high school that I used to date, that none of you guys believe, did not make it. But it was pretty fun. Nick from ARK Invest made it. And he was really blown away. Nick is one of their lead fintech guys who basically pitched Kathy on Robinhood back when it was $20. So he was there. He couldn't stay for too long, but he was just like amazed that, the force that retail has become. He is, I'll just say this right here. I've said this before, but he is trying to get this Kathy Wood interview to happen. So we're going to try to make this in New York, hopefully over the next month. And he really wants Kathy to do the interview. She wants to do it. It's just the scheduling thing. So it'll be cool to sit down with Kathy and get to talk to her as well. So hopefully that'll happen. And it was fun. It was a fun event. It was a very, very, very fun event. And I'm just so grateful, dude. I'm just so grateful. I think it kind of hit me last night. Like last night when I was actually getting some time to think about what happened. I was like, man, that was, it was hard to pull off, but we had a really good team around me. All the mods that flew in from across the country, made it better because they kept the excitement and energy going in the conversations, even when I wasn't in the room. And it was one of those things that is an experience, hopefully, for people to remember for a long time. There was a bunch of people that went to the Miami meetup and the Boston meetup that came to this one. So this was, for some people, it was like their third or fourth meetup, or the Toronto meetup. And so I was just really, really, really grateful. Like Viral, he came from Toronto again. I think he was at Miami. Like, it's just special. It's priceless. It's priceless, and I just want to keep going and make it even better in the future. Did you and Steve come up with a name for your podcast? We got a lot of suggestions. We have one that we really like, but we're still not sure. The podcast is supposed to be dropping on Thursday, right? Yeah, so we have 2 days. I will call Steve tonight, and we're going to solidify this, and we're just going to roll with whatever the name is and keep going from there. I really want to put out the podcast on Thursday so you guys can see it. What was the other thing? Oh, Steve didn't go live yesterday because Steve lost his voice. Steve has not talked the amount that he talked. I mean, the amount of people that wanted pictures of this, or I think Steve was exhausted physically and emotionally. I don't think Steve has ever had that happen to him before. So I thought he might go live yesterday because he doesn't miss a day, but he didn't go live. I think he was freaking tired. I wonder if he'll go live tonight, but he definitely needed a day to recover. I'm using your charger. You stole my charger, Davis? Dude, this guy, all he does is take from me. All he does is freaking take. Oh, no, he stole Erwin's charger. All he does is steal from other people, dude. Just uses other people. Erwin will be at the LA meetup as well. Erwin, a lot of you guys don't know him, but he's heavy Rocket Lab. And he's been a friend since 2021 and OG Palantir. So he's like 6'3", big guy. So I was happy to meet him for the first time. And it felt like we were friends since we've known each other for the past couple of years. We just never got to see each other in person. And that's why it was fun. He stole your heart. Yes. I guess he stole my heart as well. The other channel's name. That's a good question. If I had, well, I can link the channel, right? Right now it's just called Steve Amit Podcast. I can link the channel. You can subscribe to it, but it'll be named something different tomorrow. So yeah, this is the link to it. It needs to be like, it needs to be, you know, it needs a name, but there's the link right there. We're not calling it AK Media. I'm getting tired of this name, bro. Honestly, I'm getting annoyed at the name. I don't care anymore about that. I just want to pick a stupid name and move on. I just want to focus on making the content better, because the first 2 episodes were good, but I have some ideas on how to make it really better. So like at this point, I'm like, bro, I don't care about the name anymore. Whatever. Erwin was great. Yeah, Erwin was awesome. Tanner was there as well. I mean, I'm really happy Tanner came. He came kind of last minute. And yeah, a lot of people, dude, people were happy to see Tanner. I mean, I forgot to say this. The amount of people that said, I start with you, and then I go to Tanner, and then I go back to you, and then I go to Steve, and you guys occupy me. I think there was at least 20 people that said I go from you to Tanner to you to Steve, and that's my day. I was like, damn, bro. Like, it makes sense for all of us to be at these meetups together, because you all are listening to all of us, right? Like, we're all doing this, all collaborating together. So, I mean, Tanner had a lot of people that just watch his stuff every day, and I'm happy he came. He took the mic. He got to talk to everybody. I think Toronto or Tanner might do a meetup like this in Toronto, maybe in the future, maybe something at a smaller scale. But I'm super happy to have him as a friend, and I was happy that he came through. Because again, it's just like, that's what makes it fun, when everyone is actually, who's part of this whole thing, shows up for these. So I really appreciated it. All right. Is that it? Are we? What do you mean by a smaller scale? Like, Tanner, I don't know if you want to rent out a whole venue with 350 people. That's what I mean by smaller scale. Like, when I did my first meetup, again, it was 40 people. So, I mean, if you want to go for 350, be my guest. But it's it is good. I think the progression of doing it year over year. Like, if I tried to do like a big meetup with hundreds of people in a venue last year, it would have failed. It wouldn't have played out. Like, you kind of need to go through the steps of taking it slow, doing it by yourself, seeing what works, seeing what doesn't, and then feeling comfortable enough to have a team to scale. Because honestly, there was like 17 different things that could have gone wrong. Like, realistically, but like, when you have a team that's like has all this shit in place, then it's just less likely, you know? And that's why it was fun. Novo down 10%. There she goes. There she goes. 52.85. I mean, they reduced guidance to negative 13% growth. So Street thought it would be negative 1%. I didn't know they were growing negative, dude. I thought this was still somewhat positive growth. But the fact that they guided for negative, and the Street expected it to be negative, but then it was negative, 13x what the Street thought it was going to be. Yeah, that was ugly. It was very, very ugly. Rock Lab almost back to 80. Bitcoin 76,300. And then Novo, unfortunately, this one's going to get. Ken Griffin says he might run for office. Ken's doing an interview right now. A bunch of different quotes from Ken Griffin. I mean, I wonder if he would run as a Republican. I think he would have to. At that point, he'd be going up against J.D. Vance. Getting into the midterm election soon. We just got so many things that are coming back and forth. So many things come back and forth. Yeah, Steve is also on Instagram right now. So if you guys want to follow Steve, you can follow Steve on Instagram. Probably start posting more as well. But there's his IG. Hood RSI is lower than August 5th, 2024. Dude, freaking Palantir's RSI at 143 was lower than May of 2022. A lot. And you got a little Palantir bounce here, which theoretically I think we would get a little Hood bounce. But like, a lot of this, Hood was $13 in August of 2024. So I don't know. This is confusing to say the least, but to see Novo get hit like this, to see Microsoft get hit like this, Broadcom, I don't think it's warranted. Nvidia below 180, but this is how the street's going to react. And that's what you're saying. All right, I think that's it. I think that is it. We will be covering AMD after the bell. We will be covering AMD after the bell. William, you were in the meetup as well. Thank you for being there. See you in the chat. Again, everyone who is there at the meetup, you'll get a link soon in an email with all the photos and everything. But I deeply, deeply appreciate everyone being there. We'll do AMD and then we'll do Technical Tuesday. So we'll probably start Technical Tuesday at 4:40. We will not be listening to the AMD call. I know I'll have to repeat it over and over again, but we are not listening to the AMD call. If you really want to listen to it, there's plenty of other streams you can listen to. I'm sure a lot more people care about the technicals. And yeah, we'll cover the results and then see what goes on from there. I don't have an AMD position at this point. I don't know if I want to get in right before earnings. I really hope it goes up, but we're going to see the results after the bell and see what ends up playing up. All right. I think that's it. I think that is officially it. Again, thank you, everybody who showed up to the meetup. It really, really, really did mean the world. I'll have pictures out soon. William, again, thank you for the paintings. Just all the people I met. Incredibly, incredibly grateful beyond imagination. Did not expect the types of stories I heard 2 days ago, but it was special. And that's why we do it. And I'm just so, so, so happy that Tanner and Steve and Chris and Matt and all these people, Shell, Ray, all the mods, Davis, Nate, everyone got to come through, Doug, and be there. Tess, like that was the most exciting part about all this. All right, so that is it. Word of the day. We haven't done this for a while. I think I missed it on Friday. Word of the day. What do we got? Ebullient. Overflowing with enthusiasm, energy, or excitement. Okay, maybe not some of these stocks today, but definitely the meetup had a lot of ebullient energy. The ebullient tone of the launch masked how early the product was. Okay, let's see what this shit sounds like.
Ebullient.
That is stupid. No one on this planet, no one in the chat. I'm raising my voice because no one, and I don't care what you guys say. You did not say ebullient when you heard this. There is no one that thought the E and the B was a UH sound. No way in hell. Everyone's capping if they thought ebullient was how you say ebullient.
Ebullient.
That's stupid. That's not real. It's ebullient. I'm just going to keep saying ebullient. It literally says bull. Yeah, but the E is not a. It's a eh. Or an actual E. But I didn't say ebullient or anything. That would have been like a little, I think. Like if I said ebullient, I feel like I'd be trying to say it wrong. I said ebullient. Ebullient, is like that looks like an ebullient. Ebullient? Are you kidding me?
Ebullient.
Ebullient? Like that just sounds like you're trying to be a douche saying that. No, it's ebullient. How are you a debate champion? I guess debating is different from word of the day. I guess it's different from word of the day. All right. That's it. We'll be back. We'll be back on the close. So we have AMD, we have a bunch of other earnings, and then Technical Tuesday. And then that's it. And then that is it. Davis, these comments are getting ridiculous. This guy's getting too comfortable in the chat now. He's getting too comfortable. I mean, it was also apparently waitlisted at Harvard.
See, me saying these words wrong isn't making that story more believable, but it is true. All right. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it. Again, thank you to everyone who came to the meetup. I'll probably show some of the other stuff that people brought on a different stream. But again, deeply, deeply appreciated. LA meetup link probably will be out on Friday. If you came to the meetup, just watch out for an email. If you couldn't make it, please let me know. We'll give you a refund. And AMD, after the bell, hopefully we get some good results, and then we will get into Technical Tuesday. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it. See you guys at the close. Bye, everyone.